Stand down and stand by.
Stand down and stand by. Okay. All right.
Voice of the Great Lakes. This is Paul W. Smith on WJR with Kevin Dietz filling in for Paul.
Good morning on this Wednesday, September the 30th. You're listening to the Paul W. Smith Show. Thanks for stopping by WJR 760 AM, where Detroit comes to talk. We are also on Facebook Live and we're on YouTube. And the roundtable is all here with us. Ann Thomas, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Kev. I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. I stayed up a little late last night. I'm sure all of you did as well, but we'll get some pleasantries out of the way first before we start taking the gloves off and fighting. Marie Osborne is with us. Marie, how are you?
Great, Kevin. Good to see everybody.
Dana Clark, how are you? You went with the hat today?
Oh, because no time again to do my hair. I was watching the debate, but it's hump day. Is it hump day?
Yeah.
It's hump day.
Okay.
We're starting out positive, and I like that. I like that a lot. That's sort of how the debate started out. People sort of did a nod to each other, no handshake,
Right.
A little fist pump to start, and then as soon as the thing opened up, it was a mess. It was described as a dumpster fire, an S show, UGLY. Brian Morton here called it two old guys get off my lawn. That's what I called it too, Brian, by the way. A lot of headlines. If you flip through all the different newspapers today, my goodness, everybody had a different take, and none of them were good at all. Either way, really. If I gave it a headline, I would have called it disappointing, dysfunctional debate. It was bad. It was just bad all the way around, in my opinion. We'll get into it over the next 3.5 hours. But I just want to, we talked about this yesterday. People were excited to watch it. They wanted to watch it. There was things they were watching for. And I'm just wondering now, the next day, Ann, how do you feel about what you saw?
Not good. My headline would be the painful non-debate. I thought it was very difficult to watch. It gave us a real idea into what we're dealing with here, and it was troubling. It was really hard for me to watch.
Dana, as you watched, and then you gave it a little thought overnight. There's your first reactions, and then there's 12 hours later.
Right.
How are you feeling this morning?
Well, first of all, I did have my popcorn, and as you could tell, it's empty. Okay, so that's how much popcorn was flying at the TV. That was. Oh, do we have to have another one? That's all I need to say. We don't need to see anymore. It was like a bully on the playground, the one that you can't stand and takes your lunch money every day. That's what it was like for President Trump. We knew he would do that, but even Chris Wallace, I felt for Chris Wallace because he could not control anything. And I felt like he had a double scotch waiting as soon as he walked off that podium. I thought VP Biden did well. All he has to do now is continue to breathe, because it was pretty much laid out. He took the upper high road, and President Trump was just President Trump. But we didn't learn anything really new that we didn't know before about him.
Two thoughts on that. One is that if there's going to be any more of these, there needs to be a mute button where you can cut the mics off of a candidate if they're speaking over someone. Secondly, Joe Biden wasn't at his best either. Calling Donald Trump a clown, a racist, a liar. He could have been more presidential as well, but the room was tough. That's for sure. And I don't think any of the three gentlemen there had a great opportunity to express themselves. It was a mess. Marie, what are your thoughts?
Oh, I think everyone summed it up so well. Dumpster fire, train wreck. It was, I know I had several younger people watching the debate. I wanted their thoughts. I said, just text me your thoughts. None of them watched it to the end. All of them said things like, I know I got one Homer Simpson yelling, "Get off my lawn." I got one of those. And I just thought it was completely out of control. And the fact is, we do have two more of these in the works. And I don't think people are going to watch that. They're not going to put up with that. And you also mentioned somebody here, Ann or Dana mentioned the mute button. They've actually discussed that idea of having a mute button, but they were afraid that they had a mute button. Who was going to be in charge of that, and would they be fair in using it? Mm-hmm. So that's actually an idea that's been entertained. But I think there would have been both sides. I was very disappointed at the tenor. I didn't like the President of the United States, somebody calling them a clown. But on the other hand, we have someone like President Trump who's never afraid to be a bully. So I just think it was a mess, a real mess.
Yeah, I would have liked to put them in maybe one of those chambers like you see on a game show where you can't hear or speak until you're turned on, and then give each person maybe 4 minutes to talk and let them talk for 4 minutes and then go to the next person for 4 minutes uninterrupted. It was a mess. It was not.
I do want to say one other thing, though. I think Chris Wallace did an excellent job in terms of the questions he asked. I think he was did he have control over this? I don't think so. But I think he was very fair in terms of leading out some tough questions to both of those candidates. Mm-hmm. And for that, I think he deserves credit.
I agree.
All right, we're going to take a quick break and then get into it. You're listening to the Paul W. Smith Show. Right now, let's check traffic and weather with Dana Clark.
This report is sponsored by SafeExcavator.com. Call or click 811 before you dig. There's a lot of stuff underground you can't see, and every few minutes somebody digs into a line, pipe, cable, or wire. Don't be that person. Call or click 811 before you dig and visit SafeExcavator.com.
Traffic First also sponsored by Gordon Chevrolet. Gordon Chevrolet, where not only do you pick your payment, but now pick your program. Need to pull ahead your lease? Do you need GM employee pricing or a low payment with zero interest? Let Gordon Chevrolet help you find it on Ford Road, just west of Merriman in Garden City. GordonChevrolet.com. Gordon Chevrolet, find new roads. In Hazel Park along 8 Mile westbound between 75 and John R. That is closed for construction through October 11th for concrete repairs at Service Drive does remain open. Now, WJR Weather First from the Weather Channel, sponsored by the Construction Association of Michigan. CAM has been helping commercial and industrial contractors and suppliers grow since 1885, and now is the time to join. Join the most powerful network of construction professionals in the state, the Construction Association of Michigan. Join today. Get listed in the 2021 Construction Buyer's Guide. Learn more at billwithcam.com. That's billwithcam.com.
Yeah, and seasonally cool weather will continue. Mix of clouds and sunshine this morning. Might see a little more cloud this afternoon, but still some sun, high 63. Tonight, some clouds in town, about 48. Suburbs a little cooler. And we may see a few more showers and thunderstorms tomorrow with highs in the low 60s. From a Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray Stidgick. News Talk 760 WJR.
Another rant from an American college professor has come to light. This one comes from Dr. Nathan June, who teaches philosophy at Midwestern State University of Wichita Falls, Texas. Last weekend, Dr. June posted on Facebook, "I want the entire world to burn until the last cop is strangled with the intestines of the last capitalist, who is strangled in turn with the intestines of the last politician." Now, on top of this guy's obsession with intestines, you can assume that his hatred of law enforcement and capitalism fits right in with so many others who are teaching America's young people. The university defended their professor. They said that when their faculty members express themselves as private citizens, they are entitled to First Amendment protections, even if their opinions are offensive and shocking. Professor June isn't going to face any institutional censorship or discipline. But here's the thing. Midwestern State University is a public university, so Texas taxpayers have a right to express their uncensored opinion on who they underwrite in the classroom. And you parents paying to send your kids to MSU, you also have a right to express yourselves. Now, if you don't want your kids exposed to this uncensored hatred of law enforcement and American capitalism, you have every reason to impose some societal discipline of your own and just quit supporting this. And tell Dr. June it's time for his July. He's out of there.
Rush Limbaugh, noon to 3 today, right here on WJR.
All right, so we are in our break now. You know, going back to the Chris Wallace issue, a lot of people were criticizing Chris Wallace on Twitter last night, and he got a lot of criticism in the post-debate coverage. I think it would have been impossible. I don't care who was there.
Exactly.
How would you have controlled that? I mean, all of us have moderated panels and been involved in interviewing people and doing that kind of thing. And that's the last seat I would have wanted to have been in last night. I don't know how you would have controlled that, because there was no respect.
You couldn't have.
He would have had to.
What'd you say, Marie?
No respect, like you said, none.
Yeah.
He would have had to act just like Trump was acting, and he would have had to stand up and say, "You're not going to talk until I say you talk." And that's the way. So this is my debate. You know, I'm the moderator. You talk when I tell you to talk. And he would have had to be a jerk, and he's not. but even that may not have worked.
Well, the next debates are going to be moderated by two people who have no presidential debate experience. So I think
who's doing it, Marie?
Kristen Welker from Channel 4, I think, is the next one. And the third one is, I think, somebody from one of the cable channels. And
so it's wouldn't they be better with more than one person?
Maybe so.
I don't know. It was like we had 90 minutes last night. And we barely got to hear the candidates say anything about the issues. So I don't know if another moderator would help or not.
No, I thought he was probably the best choice out there. I don't know, Kevin. Did you think he?
I think he's fantastic. I think he's excellent. He totally lost control, and it was tough to watch because you didn't know how to help him. You couldn't.
Right.
There's nothing you could do for him.
At one point, he did say to the president, "You got to stop interrupting."
Yeah.
I'm wondering if he should have said that sooner and more frequently. I don't know.
Yeah, he did say your team did agree to these. The format I thought was good. I think Mr. Tom Leathers called me Angela Davis. He said Angela Davis popping off again. I guess that's directed toward me.
First of all, I'm ignorant. Who's Angela?
Angela Davis is. Thank you, sir, for the compliment. She's a black rights activist.
In the 60s. Yes. She's part of one of the Chicago 7 or in with that group. Yeah, she was a well-known activist.
Well known. Thank you, sir. That's a compliment for me because I can't hold a candle to Angela, but
I just heard her on a podcast last week.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's called the Justice Podcast. If you've never heard it, it's really good.
We should listen to that.
They get the best of the best people and get into it. But yeah, Dana, they were picking on you a little yesterday too.
I'm sorry.
They were picking on you a little bit yesterday in the comments too. Not too bad, but they think you lean a little left.
I just lean decent.
Now, even more Paul W. Smith on WJR. Once again, substituting, here's Kevin Dietz.
You're listening to the Paul W. Smith Show. It is 5:50 in the morning, and the round table is here. Ann Thomas, Marie Osborne, Dana Clark. Through the entire break, we continued our discussion on the debate. It's hard to look away, and it's hard not to talk about it. Mostly over the break, we were talking about Chris Wallace, the moderator, and did he do a good job? Should he have done more? Did you like his questions? Did any of them get answered? So much to peel back here, but I just my thoughts on Chris Wallace are I really respect him. I love when he does one-on-one interviews because he's well prepared. He knows what he's talking about. He calls out people when they're not telling the truth, and he didn't really get a chance to shine much last night because this was like two toddlers in their terrible twos kind of just trying to be heard over each other. And we really never got very deep into the issues. And I think Chris Wallace had pages of excellent notes with excellent questions of things that he felt the American people wanted to hear. And most of the time he was debating with Donald Trump, telling him to stop interrupting and to follow the rule. And so I don't know how to give Chris Wallace a grade here, although I must say I feel like maybe people should have saw this coming. If you've ever seen one of President Donald Trump's press conferences, that's what it looked like. If he doesn't like the question, he kind of talks through it or over it or at you. And then Joe Biden kind of came right into the mix by getting into name calling and, trying to get his time in. And then it was weird too. This is one of the things the moderator is supposed to give equal time. And I'd like to see what it was, how much each person talked, because they monitor everything, but it seemed like it was really hard for him to keep everyone in their 2-minute blocks and then to try and keep track of who got enough time. But let's go around the table and see how you feel about the moderator and Mike Wallace. And let's start with Marie. Marie, I know how much you respect Chris Wallace. I'm sorry, not Mike.
Yeah, Mike the dad, right? Well,
Right.
Like I said, I just think I really thought he put in a yeoman's job, a yeoman's effort. I think there was no way to control that. We talked a little in the break about how the next two moderators that are coming up, one of them is Kristen Welker from Channel 4, from NBC, who is a seasoned reporter. She's covered the White House for a long time, but neither one of them have any presidential debate experience. At least Chris Wallace did. I just don't even know if they're going to have any control at all over the proceedings. And I also think the sad thing is that this morning the spin doctors are going to be out talking about how great President Trump did and how great Joe Biden did. And there's going to be very little real analysis about, well, what did the American people get out of all this?
And Ann, what were your thoughts on Chris Wallace and the moderator? You can easily put yourself in their shoes. Anybody in the news business has had to deal with this a little bit of trying to figure out how to control an interview or a debate.
Well, I thought he had an impossible job. I mean, as soon as it started, I thought to myself, he's going to have a hard time controlling this. And he did. At one point, of course, he did say to the president to please follow the rules and stop interrupting. And he did several times kind of, try to stop them when things got really bad. Maybe he should have earlier gotten tougher with them, with the president especially, because he was doing most of the interrupting at the beginning. But he lost control quickly. But having said that, I really respect him. I think he does an excellent job. And I thought his questions were excellent too. So I don't know. I don't think anybody would have been able to control that. That would have been the worst job in the world last night.
Before we hear from you, Dana, let's listen to Chris Wallace in cut 15.
I'm going to ask a question about race, but if you want to answer about something else, go ahead. But I think that the country would be better served if we allowed both people to speak with fewer interruptions. I'm appealing to you, sir, to do that.
Well, and him too.
Well, frankly, you've been doing more interrupting
Well, that's
than
all
he
right,
has.
but he does plenty.
Well, less than, sir, less
does
than,
plenty.
no, less than you have. Let's please continue on.
Dana, it was just sort of like watching a root canal, trying to get them on topic and to answer questions and to not interrupt each other. What were your thoughts?
My question is, why are we talking about Chris Wallace? Like, he's not running for president. And so again, diversion. How did the moderator do? Not, did we get any more information? Did we get our questions answered? Do undecided people feel better about what they saw and how they feel? Chris Wallace did excellent. There's nothing, as Marie and Annie said, there's nothing he could have done. So now we're going to talk about, did he do well? What did he do? Okay. Chris Wallace was the best thing that was happening on that stage last night. Next.
Yeah, well, but as you go forward, if there's going to be two more of these things, we want to try and figure out the best way that we can get to the issues, because we do want to hear more. We did learn some things last night, but it was more about personalities than it was about the issues. But we're going to get into those issues one by one. There was a lot of them that were tried to be that they were trying to discuss, but almost it seemed like as every issue just got started, out came the name calling and insults, and on both ways. Even family was fair game last night. So we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back with more of this. But right now, let's check in with weather and traffic and Dana Clark.
This report is sponsored by SafeExcavator.com. Call or click 811 before you dig. There's a lot of stuff underground you can't see, and every few minutes somebody digs into a line, pipe, cable, or wire. Don't be that person. Call or click 811 before you dig and visit SafeExcavator.com.
Traffic First sponsored by the Cremation Society of Michigan. For over 32 years, the Cremation Society of Michigan has been providing dignified cremation services without the cost of traditional funerals. For cremation information, contact the Cremation Society of Michigan at 1-800-241-3131 or visit cremationmichigan.com. 696 westbound between Gratiot and Groesbeck. 2 left lanes are closed until 5 p.m. today. Expect delays. Now, WJR Weather First from the Weather Channel, sponsored by Shelving.com. Shelving.com has been providing wire and metal shelving, unirack, pallet racking, and space-saving products for 60 years. They now also carry trusted Milwaukee tools to get your warehouse or business equipped for the job at hand. Maximize space and work performance. Visit Shelving.com. That's Shelving.com. We rack your world. Mostly cloudy skies, currently 51 degrees. I think we're going to get some showers later this afternoon. Thunderstorms could be heavy at times, a high of 63 tonight, partly cloudy, 46. Thursday, more clouds, occasional rain, thunder possible, a high of 59. Fall is definitely here. I'm Dana Clark, WJR News with Marie Osborne in 2 minutes.
So Dana, what were some of the more interesting parts of the debate to you? Like, what were some of the times where you felt like, okay, I'm hearing a little bit of what I want to hear, or did that not happen?
I don't think it really happened. Like I hate one thing I hate more than anything is when a person doesn't answer the question and they go all around and up and down. It's just like, answer the question, then continue with your train of thought. I hate when the question doesn't get answered. So that's when you kind of lose me, after you just start going on and on and on. And that makes me feel like you have something to hide or you don't know the answer. I don't know. I didn't really learn anything more, I don't think. How about you?
I feel the same way. I did notice a few things. I think the president's answers on coronavirus were weak. I mean, that is he seems like he just, wants to kind of move on and talk
Right.
about.
Yeah.
The other thing is, and I've noticed this for a couple of weeks now, with regard to coronavirus, he keeps wanting to talk about how good everything was before coronavirus, right? The problem is we're in coronavirus right now. So everything is not good. And so the question is, what is the comprehensive plan to help Americans and help businesses deal with this, until we can get this under control? I agree with Kevin. Kevin had mentioned earlier, he is, when it comes to talking about the economy, you get the sense that he's strong on that. He understands it. But he's constantly going back to how it was before we got hit with coronavirus.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the refusing to say the right things about the white supremacists.
Yeah.
That
was very frightening when he said, stand down and stand by, meaning hold up, but I might give out the signal soon, the bat signal. I don't know. It was very, well, I'm not surprised. There's nothing that happened that I'm not surprised.
Right?
I'm sorry?
That was a golden opportunity for him.
Well, he's not going to denounce racism or he's not going to admit any of those things. What was the other hot topic that he would not answer? And he went around and around in circles.
Climate,
and, saying that he would accept the results.
Healthcare was another.
You're right. Right. He's so it's just like, what are you up here for? Just to hear yourself talk. You're not really, I mean, these are people who are undecided. And I liked how Biden was looking at the camera and saying, this is about you. This is about you. He tried to stay focused and not even, go there with him. But sometimes you gotta back somebody off you just a little bit. So I wasn't even upset at the clown comment, because when you start bringing family into it, that's when it's over. And so that was really, really super, super low, saying his son was on cocaine. But I think Biden answered it properly. Yes, he was. He had a problem. A lot of people have problems with that. And to me, I just felt like it was sincere. I don't know where President Trump is coming from. I really don't. He's very confusing to me. I'm sure he means well for some, but I don't know.
What do you think, Kev?
What are we talking about?
Oh, nothing. Yeah, it's going to rain today.
We're talking about, were there parts of the debate where you felt like you got some interesting information or substance that, or, like a takeaway where you thought, okay.
My takeaway is that, my takeaway was that Biden is plenty healthy enough to handle this.
You're right.
That was my takeaway. The rest of it, to me, on both sides, was really disappointing. I wasn't happy at all, really, with either of them. I mean, talk about Donald Trump avoiding everything, and he did. He didn't want to talk about something; he would just go talk about something else. And terrible on race, and terrible on healthcare, and terrible. But Biden on the Supreme Court just wouldn't answer whether he was going to pack the court or what he was going to do or who he was going to name as a nominee. It's like, tell us something. It was a debate of nothing. And that's just frustrating when if you're truly undecided and you're reaching for something. I don't know what you're supposed to grasp onto there.
Good point.
It was just tough, and I guess there's no real undecideds out there. They're saying it's the lowest undecided ever. It's like 3%. So people already know what they're doing. So maybe that was part of it. Maybe they were playing to their base. They both were trying to play to their base. And Trump spent a lot of time saying you're going to lose the left by or by talking about law and order or whatever. I mean, that must have been something that his people told him he needed to do. He kept coming back to it, but Biden didn't back off, saying that he felt, that protesting is good, violence is bad. I don't know. It's going to take me a minute to digest that thing, and I taped it. I taped it because I want to watch it a couple times, because that first wave is hard because it's so insulting. The name calling constantly and the interrupting. It's hard to get through it. I don't know. Maybe I'm not great at first takes, but I guess what I was looking for is how's Joe Biden doing? And he seemed fine. I mean, he had some trouble with the numbers a little bit, but I call Chris Wallace Mike Wallace. So I mean, people, so people, you can't, and then the instant reaction from MSNBC versus Fox is crazy to me. They just instantly their person is the big winner, and that's all there is to it. And it's just never that clean,
No. And this wasn't, Kevin. This wasn't clean. I mean, you're absolutely right. There's no way that you could walk away from there and say that somebody was the instant winner. You're just not paying attention if you're doing that.
No, there was an instant loser, and it was America.
From the great voice of the Great Lakes, this is Paul W. Smith on WJR with Kevin Dietz filling in for Paul.
It's Wednesday, September the 30th, and the round table is here. Ann Thomas, Maria Osborne, and Dana Clark, and we are talking debate. Let's get you guys into it a little bit with a couple of clips, just in case you didn't watch it last night, in case you went to bed early. Not in any real order here, but let's, Brian, let's take one and then two.
He's the racist. You just don't know. Here's the deal. I know a lot more about this.
Let him finish.
The fact is that there is racial insensitivity. People have to be made aware of what other people feel like, what insults them, what is demeaning to them. It's important to people know they don't want to. Many people don't want to hurt other people's feelings, but it makes a big difference. It makes a gigantic difference in the way a child is able to grow up and have a sense of self-esteem. It's a little bit like how this guy and his friends look down on so many people. They look down their nose on people like Irish Catholics like me and grew up in Scranton. They look down on people who don't have money. They look down on people who are of a different faith. They look down on people who are a different color. In fact, we're all Americans. The only way we're going to bring this country together is bring everybody together. There's nothing we cannot do if we do it together.
With you, go ahead. Wait a minute. You get the final word, Mr.
Well, it's hard to get any word in with this clown. Excuse me.
Hey, let me just say, Joe.
No. I'm Mr. President.
$3.5 million, Joe.
That is simply.
Why did he deserve $3.5 million from Moscow?
Look, here's the deal. We want to talk about families and ethics. I don't want to do that. I mean, his family we could talk about all night. His family's already.
My family lost a fortune by coming down and helping us with government.
And that's such a
Mr. President. Every single one of them lost.
This is not about my family or his family. It's about your family, the American people. He doesn't. That's not true. It doesn't want to talk about what you need. You, the American people. It's about you.
So you listen to that, and it's hard to really pick a winner in all of this. You know, I just watching, I just felt like America was the loser of this debate because we didn't get what we needed. We live in a time that's crazy. I mean, it's just absolutely crazy with COVID and everything that's going on with race relations right now. And we're looking up at a TV screen, looking for leadership, looking to find out who's going to bring us out of this, who's going to bring us out of this pandemic, who's going to bring us through an economic recovery, who's going to help us with these race relations. And I just don't know if we saw it. We saw a lot of yelling at each other. We saw a lot of name calling. And yeah, you can say one person did worse than the other, I guess, but that's just not the way, you know, I want to pick my president. And so it's hard. And I was saying during the break that I want to watch it again and maybe a couple of times just to see if I can find what I'm looking for. But it was really,
You're not gonna find it.
It was really,
Kevin, don't waste your time.
It's really troubling. And I don't know. So I look, the economy, race, violence in America, healthcare, climate, integrity of the election, Supreme Court, coronavirus. Those were the issues that were discussed. We should get into all of them because there were bits and pieces that we were able to pick out. But just overall, the biggest takeaway for me was that Joe Biden looked mentally healthy enough to be the president of the United States. Donald Trump looked a lot like the Donald Trump that I see in his press conferences. Joe Biden got a little more rattled than I remembered him as a vice president, but he'd get a little rattled, and then he would do some name calling, the clown thing, or you're the worst president in the history or whatever. But I don't know. What do you? Let's start with you, Dana, and we'll go around and see what your thoughts are.
I agree with you, Kevin. I didn't learn anything new. I was just looking for, again, like you said, VP Biden could he hold it together? Could he make his points? Could he take the high road? He did, remember, he does have a little stuttering problem. So he did stutter a little bit. And I'm glad President Trump didn't go for that. It didn't try to put him down for that because that's a problem that he's worked through. But I feel like you, Kevin. I feel like he showed up, he was there, and his health is good enough to run the country.
Marie, what do you think?
It's interesting because we have a family member who stutters. And so he weighed in on this last night, and he said that a lot of times he noticed when Biden is trying to, it seems like he's like lost or trying to get his thoughts together, when in reality, what that is, that's what people who stutter, who are trying to, they're trying to line up their words with where their brain is. And it's just a momentary thing. It is not a sign of dementia. It's not a sign of diminished mental capacity. It is just something, it's something that they have to employ in order to get their thoughts out. So that's one thing that I did learn last night, but it had nothing to do with the debate. I had a great trepidation when I sat down to watch this. I knew it was going to be difficult to watch. I didn't think it was going to be that difficult as it turned out to be. And I think we've learned nothing. Everything that I've looked at this morning in terms of the undecided voters all saying they're still undecided. There's very few of them, but they're still undecided. I just don't know where to go from here. I don't know what to do with the following debates. What's it all going to mean?
Anne?
Well, Marie brings up an interesting point about the debates, the upcoming debates. Would it be smart to have a better format or a different format? Would it be better if there was more than one moderator to help bring things under control? I'm just trying to think of what could be done so that we could actually watch a debate and not this non-debate. Because last night, there was no debate going on. It was just, the two candidates interrupting each other. And then at one point, it sounded like Chris Wallace was debating with the president. And it was difficult to watch. And I had young adults watching with me and texting back and forth like Marie did. And they were really frustrated and they were appalled. And I think they did leave the debate halfway through. And so, that's troubling too, because we want our young Americans to be involved in politics and they're seeing this. So I'm concerned.
We are all deeply concerned. When you watch something like that and you're disappointed, the way I think most of America is, I think people are going to look to whatever the most important issue is to them personally and their family and their lives, and they're going to say, where does each person stand on that issue? And they're going to maybe hold their nose a little bit and vote along issue lines. So as the show goes on, we're going to get into each of the issues and where the candidates stood on it as best we can tell anyway. You're listening to the Paul W. Smith Show. It is 6:13 in the morning. Let's check traffic and weather with Dana Clark.
This report is sponsored by SafeExcavator.com. Call or click 811 before you dig. There's a lot of stuff underground you can't see, and every few minutes somebody digs into a line, pipe, cable, or wire. Don't be that person. Call or click 811 before you dig and visit SafeExcavator.com.
We are looking at a vehicle fire, Kevin, reported in Plymouth Township along M14 westbound after 275. That left lane is blocked. Now, WJR Weather First from the Weather Channel, sponsored by Gordon Chevrolet. Gordon Chevrolet, where not only do you pick your payment, but now pick your program. Need to pull ahead your lease? Do you need GM employee pricing or a low payment with zero interest? Let Gordon Chevrolet help you find it on Ford Road, just west of Merriman in Garden City. GordonChevrolet.com. Gordon Chevrolet, find new roads.
That'll be cool here as we head through the next couple of days with a reinforcing shot of chilly air coming on in.
See you
Clouds
guys.
mixed with sunshine this morning. Cloud later today, 63. Tonight, a few clouds around 48. Suburbs a little bit cooler. Tomorrow, some scattered showers and thunderstorms with highs in the low 60s. From a Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray Stagicon, News Talk 760 WJR.
If you need a new vehicle, you have until 9 p.m. tonight to see what we can do for you during our Jeep Adventure Days at Golling Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Hi, friends. Bill Golling telling you about our great values. But again, they all end tonight at 9 p.m. Qualified Chrysler employees can lease a 2020 Chrysler Pacifica Limited for $289 a month. Leases for 39 months, 10,000 miles a year with $1,000 down. Remember, for a great deal and a great deal more, come see us. That's Golling Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Roseville, Bloomfield Hills, and Chelsea, and online at Golling.com.
The big media are afraid of David Horowitz's new book, Blitz. But Donald Trump Jr. says bypass them and get Blitz, now a runaway New York Times bestseller. Mike Huckabee, Mark Levin, and Rudy Giuliani.
So, Kev, you're all set for Patty.
Yeah, how do you say her last name?
Patty Poppy. And, Patty probably, I don't know if she'd want to, but she could weigh in on what she watched last night, too.
Patty Poppy.
She's the president and CEO of Consumers Energy. And just for our Facebook viewers, we're going to check in with Patty, but most of the morning will be spent talking about the debate, because I can tell by the comments this morning that people need to vent.
Yeah. Also, do we have that there's a 7:15 open maybe or something?
I think it's a 7:35. 7:30.
I don't know if we want to try and take calls or texts or anything in there, but we can just talk through too. There's so much going on.
But we could start some calls.
Yeah.
Our screener will be there. So we absolutely, anytime we have anything open, we are happy to have people call this morning because I'd like to hear what if people agree with us and what else people noticed that we might have missed.
Yeah.
So,
There'll
yeah.
be so much. No matter who you talk to, something else caught their eye.
I give you credit. You're going to watch it again.
I am. I have to. I don't. I took a lot of notes, just trying to take notes, and it was hard. I mean, I expected some of it. I didn't expect just nonstop 90 minutes where you just have to. Okay, we're not getting anywhere.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what number 2 looks like. That's for sure.
Someone was saying that he wouldn't agree to check for earpieces. There's no way anybody was giving notes in their ears. If anyone was talking in their ears through earpieces, they would have told them to behave.
Yeah, that wasn't happening.
I don't think there'll be a drug test. I don't think there'll be a sweep for earpieces. But
yeah,
both those guys are so old. They can another voice in their ear would not help.
It would be very confusing.
Let's
put it that way. There's no way. Yeah. So Maria says Trump supporter, but his comment about stand down and stand by. Yeah, I know. That's what I did hear a lot of Republican reaction to that last night, saying, "Wow, that was a mistake." But we know what he's doing there. He's appealing to a core group. But yeah, I did. I heard that.
There may have just been a lot of. They may have said, "Let's go for the base as much as we can and get people excited about getting out to vote. Let's let people know they need to. The base needs to vote." But it didn't seem like anyone was really going after the undecideds too much.
No. I would be interested though today to see if it did move the undecideds at all. Probably not. I can't imagine how it would.
Well, if people were waiting to see how Biden did, it may help him because he did fine, health-wise. If they were waiting to see, something from Trump, I mean, you got a pretty clear direction that he wants to go back to where he was pre-COVID. He wants.
Yeah, he does not want to deal with that at all.
That's 33
All right, I'll be back.
Or ZPLUMBERZ.com.
Now back to more Paul W. Smith on WJR. Once again, substituting, here's Kevin Dietz.
Consumers Energy is providing $12 million to help Michigan residents and small businesses with energy bills, making an unprecedented commitment to helping customers and communities during this COVID-19 pandemic. Joining us now to talk about it all is Patty Poppe, Consumers Energy President and CEO. Patty, thanks for being on the Paul W. Smith Show.
Hey, good morning. Nice to be with you, Kevin.
Well, I don't know if you watched the debates last night, but I did. And COVID-19 was a big topic there. And people are very worried about what it's done to the country. And people are worried about what it's still doing and how long it's going to be here. And when you talk about COVID in individual families and small businesses, it's had a major impact on all of us. And so anytime we see businesses stepping in and helping out at this unprecedented time of need, it's fantastic to see and fantastic to talk about. Tell us a little bit about what Consumers Energy is up to.
Well, at Consumers Energy, we have a unique relationship across the state with all of our natural gas and electricity customers. We have a real vantage point to see the challenges that people are facing. And there's definitely sort of a trickle-down impact of businesses being closed and unable to operate in order to keep everyone safe. And so they then have their employees who are affected by those closures and constraints on how much they can really serve their customers. And so there's a real cascade impact here. And so at Consumers, as you mentioned, we made a very important announcement yesterday and are excited to share with all your listeners that we are giving $12 million to our customers through small business assistance as well as individual customer assistance. We've never done this magnitude of contribution to serve people, but we feel like in these unprecedented times, this is the kind of unprecedented giving that we need to do our part.
Yeah, it's been tough, you know. I mean, I talk with families and they're doing their best, and you know, they've been impacted. They don't have the income they had before COVID because one family member or both have been laid off or lost their jobs. And it's not that people aren't out there trying to do their best to find ways to pay all their bills, but it's just not there. There's no ability to get back on your feet immediately. We have to sort of let this pandemic work its way through, and you don't want to penalize people for something that's completely out of their control. And so the idea that consumers is there and has your back and understands that at this time, it's like when I talk to businesses, small businesses, and they're like, well, if my landlord doesn't let me, you know, have a reduction in rent or skip a couple of payments during this, I'm going to have to close my business and put people out of work. And these are the real things that people are dealing with in this pandemic. And so I think it's crucial, you know, just to help people even sleep at night, to know that there's help out there. There's a safety net.
Yeah, we do. We know that this is temporary, right? We all know this. It has just been dragging on, and it's so hard for people to just see a light at the end of the tunnel. And just like you said, sometimes people just need a helping hand. And this is our way to be able to help people get through this. You know, the kind of grants that we're making available to customers, we've never provided directly to business customers before like this. And for people who, in many, many cases, and we're seeing that as they're calling in to our contact center, they've never had to ask for help before. And this is the first time they've had to reach out. And we want to make that okay for people. We want them to know that we are here for the long haul. We've been here 130 years. We're going to be here another 130. And that they truly, without, you know, just using our catchphrase, they really can count on us to be there for them in their darkest hours. And we're really excited that we're able to make this service available. And if customers have a question or need support, they can start by calling 211. That's a great place to start. That service is really designed to help people get all of the access to the support that's out there, not just the support that we're offering, but other nonprofit agencies. But of course, they can always start with us as well at 800-477-5050. They can call our customer service reps are on the job, ready to help. Their hearts are open. You know, this is a tough time for everyone, and we just want to be able to do our part.
Yeah, earlier this week we were talking to a representative of the restaurant industry, and they were saying, you know, with the summertime we were able to have people outdoors and we were able to get by, but we're really worried about the winter coming and what that's going to do, and if we're going to have fewer customers with this pandemic. And I think everybody, whether you're a small business or you're just at your house, you're worried about your bills, and you're worried about winter's coming and trying to keep the house warm. And I know you guys are going to be there for us through the winter as well.
Yes, and you know, our prices for natural gas are 20% lower than they were a decade ago. We've been working really hard to make sure that we have the lowest cost natural gas in the Midwest. We know customers use that for heating, and so in addition to obviously keeping our prices low and reducing them in the last several years, we also obviously are worried about customers, you know, at home. I know exactly what you're describing with the restaurants. I think winter, you know, coming into being back indoors and being back at home and not being able to go out again is going to be tough emotionally on people. And certainly it's going to be tough economically on businesses like restaurants who aren't able to adapt their service to winter months. And so, again, that's the nature of this announcement. We just want everyone to know, and we're so thankful that WJR can help us spread the word and let your listeners know that if they need a little help, a little grace, and a little bit of money to help them get through this time, we're going to be there for them.
All right, $12 million. The number to call if you need a little help is 211 or 1-800-477-5050. Patty Poppe, President and CEO of Consumers Energies, thanks for stopping by the Paul W. Smith Show today.
Thank you. So good to be with you.
All right. Have a great day. We're going to take a quick break and then get back more into the debates. The number here is 1-800-859-0957, 1-800-859-0WJR. Right now, let's check in with traffic with Dana Clark.
This report is sponsored by T-Mobile for Business. T-Mobile Business Advantage. Get up to 90 days of unlimited free on business plans via bill credits when you switch, plus taxes and fees. Stop by for details. Over 50 gigabytes per month. Have lower speeds during congestion. Video at 480p. See T-Mobile.com.
Vehicle fire, Kevin, in Plymouth Township along M14 westbound after 275. The left lane is blocked. Construction is going to cause delays, already slowing down along 696 westbound between Gratiot and Groesbeck. Traffic is slow from at least 94. Those left two lanes are closed until 5 p.m. Now, WJR Weather First from the Weather Channel, sponsored by Reamer Floors. National Karastan Month is happening now at Reamer Floors. Lowest prices of the season, 36-month financing, and an instant rebate up to $1,000 on Karastan carpet, hardwood, and luxury vinyl floors. Visit reamerfloors.com to schedule your shop at home or in-store appointment. It's going to be another chilly day around here. Now this time we add some rain, steady rain this morning, showers continuing this afternoon, thunder possible, a high of 63 tonight, partly cloudy skies, your low 46. More clouds and occasional rain on Thursday, thunder possible, a high of 59. Mostly cloudy, 51 degrees. I'm Dana Clark, WJR News, with Marie Osborne in 2 minutes.
Continental Structural Plastics Advanced Composites enable vehicle designs unattainable in metal. From the drawing board to the road, CSP turns cool concepts into reality. Infinite possibilities, brought to you by CSP, a Tajan Group company. Learn more at cspplastics.com.
Winter is fast approaching, and Victor from Victor's Roofing wanted me to remind you how important it is to address any issues you're having with your roof now, before the harsh Michigan winter turns the small problems into major issues. There's only one roofing company I recommend to my listeners, Victor's Roofing. They did 2 roofs for me, and I've never been so pleased with a home improvement customer experience in my life. They were fast, efficient, clean, and their workmanship was first class. So when I tell you to call Victor's before we have 10 inches of snow and ice on your roof, I speak from experience. They'll come out, do a free roof inspection, and look for existing or potential problems like leaks, ice damming, adequate insulation, and so much more. And if your roof needs to be repaired or replaced, there's still time to get that done.
Hello.
Hello. Just checking back in. Rachel's coming up at 6:35. You're good for that.
Good.
It's interesting to continue to watch the comments. Claude says it's very clear who the team is voting for and behind this morning. But one thing I want to point out here about that is it isn't clear.
That's
Because
what I'm saying, Claude. Who is the team voting for?
Don't be so sure on that, because one of the things that I think it's important to do this morning is to analyze the performance of the debaters, take the politics out of it for a minute and just look at what we watched and what we saw. And we don't do that enough anymore. It's perceived like if you criticize one candidate, then, oh, for sure, you like the other candidate. And that's not necessarily the case, number one, and that's not the way it should be, number two. I think you should be able to analyze the performance of both candidates and, take the politics out of it for a minute, or take your personal views out of it for a minute. And people don't do that.
Look, if you're a Joe Biden person, I don't think you're thrilled with last night's performance. If you're a Donald Trump person, I don't think you're thrilled with last night's performance. But a lot of people are going to just go right to their corners and say, he was brilliant. And I don't care which side you're talking about. He was brilliant. He crushed it. He got him. He did it. He was great. And the other guy was terrible, no matter who they're talking about. Right. I seriously, people I know that I talk to, they know how they're going to vote, and they're not thrilled about it. They're like, I don't like my choice of the two candidates. We should do better at getting younger, more vibrant candidates. I mean, I hear that a lot, So yeah, if you're conservative, you're going to vote for Donald Trump. If you're more liberal, you're going to vote for Joe Biden. That's what it is,
Right. But it doesn't mean that, really in America, all of us should pull away from that for a minute and take a closer look at what we're dealing with.
Look, if you want to be a really good news person, you look at the competition and you get better from them. You can take ideas of theirs that work and put them into your plan and come up with the best plan you can. You don't just go like, I'm over here and you're over here and all this is no good. It's like, it's so divided. People are so, and maybe it's just the people who are most vocal, but you feel it more than you used to,
Right.
A debate is, I don't know, we should look up the definition of a debate, but it wasn't a sharing of ideas. It wasn't that.
And the other thing is, you can't possibly wake up this morning and say that one candidate won last night. I mean, you really, and then I understand you have your candidate and you believe in their particular issues, so that's the temptation. But in reality, it was a rough night. And
if you talk about winning, I thought Trump did really well when he kept hitting I've done more in 47 months than you did in 47 years. I thought that was effective. That got his point across very well. And I thought that Trump did well when he said, can you name a single law enforcement agency that is supporting you? And Biden either couldn't or didn't. On Biden's side, I think everybody was looking to see if he can be the president, and I think he passed that test. I don't think he had any problem standing up there for 90 minutes, and I think he could have gone for 4 more hours if he had to. He passed his test, and so there's things you can look at and say, okay, we're good to go. But I don't think anyone can look up there and say, I'm so proud of my guy. It's just. In that sense, it's really disappointing, I think.
Yeah. And I think that we should, in America, do more of that, like be willing to look at each side, each party, and really analyze, okay, what is it about this that, I agree with? I think it makes sense. This works. And, and then go over and look at the other side's opinions on some issues and say, they've got a point. But we don't do that anymore. We just, like you point out, it's a good way to describe it. We go to our corners and we get the boxing gloves on and we are off to the races, and we fight for that candidate no matter how they behave and what they believe to the death. And it's not good for us. And in particular, it's not good for younger Americans. This is not the way it should be.
Yeah, our guest yesterday, who wrote the book "The Winsome Candidate," was talking about America's looking for some leadership and somebody to stand up and show us the way. And we didn't get that last night, not by a long shot. And you talk about the impact of kids. It's like I think a lot of younger people did watch, and I think they were watching for their knockout punch and something they could tweet or something they could, get behind. But a lot of what I saw on Twitter was a lot of frustration and disappointment.
I did too.
I don't think anybody really thought their candidate helped themselves or helped the country by choosing to have the disposition that they had. It was just really looked like a couple of kids fighting on the playground.
And then you get into the likability factor.
Right.
That's going to be interesting because, again, I think what's going to end up happening, at least from debate number 1, is with likability, the people who like their candidate are going to stay with liking their candidate. But
yeah, but I don't know. I don't know that I think that Trump people might like Trump a little less today, and I think Biden people might like Biden a little less today. I think they both showed some of their worse characteristics.
That's a good point.
Or did so more than showed their best characteristics.
You can order now at brownbagpopcorn.com.
Let's see what Rachel says.
Yeah.
To more Paul W. Smith on WJR. Once again, substituting, here's Kevin Dietz.
It's 6:37 in the morning. It's Wednesday, September 30th. Thanks for stopping by the Paul W. Smith Show on WJR 760 AM. We're talking about the debate, and we're looking for memorable moments, or do you just want to forget the entire debacle? Joining us now is Rachel Sutherland, Fox News correspondent. She was covering it for Fox News, and she's contributing here on WJR. Rachel, thanks for being back on the Paul W. Smith Show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Kevin. Yeah, I think I had this weird dream of men yelling last night.
It reminded me of when my kids were in the terrible twos, and I just couldn't get them to listen at all or to communicate.
Right. I mean, Chris Wallace famously said during one of the debates in 2016 that he's not a potted plant here. So he's dealt with interruptions before. I think he might have wanted to be a Venus flytrap in this situation. Look, the president could have done better if he had let Joe Biden talk more. The president's strategy was clear. He was trying to goad Biden into being thrown off balance and to perhaps going into one of his more infamous gaffes. But it didn't work. Biden was able to remain pretty cool on stage. There were a couple moments where he appeared to lose his temper, but basically appeared cool. And so all Biden had to do was just show up and not mess up. And he accomplished that. President Trump, with his debate performance and the interruptions, really it did not allow anything substantive to come from this debate. So people may have watched the debate, either dead set on who they're going to vote for. I don't think the president lost support among his base at all, but he didn't really expand. He didn't reach those people who could change their minds. And there are people out there who could change their minds. There may be few, but it could be enough to make a difference in this election. And Joe Biden, was able to hold his own. He did have a couple situations where he was asked about progressive ideals like the Green New Deal, and he put some daylight between himself and the progressives, which may come back to haunt him. They're going to be frustrated over that. So there were some missed opportunities for Biden. I think the president missed opportunities to put Biden on the spot, let him talk, and be able to get his ideas out there so that he can refute them. Otherwise, it just ended up being a melee, which is what happened.
Yeah, I was saying to the people I was watching with last night that I wish that they had decided to give each person 4 minutes uninterrupted instead of 2 minutes uninterrupted, because by trying to stick to that 2-minute clock with the interruptions, it never seemed like we really got into much of anything. And I was watching to see how Joe Biden would hold up. And as I watched, he would start to talk. And then before he got too far into anything, he would get interrupted by President Donald Trump. And so I agree with you. I would have liked to have seen Donald Trump lay back a little, let Joe Biden talk a little more and see if he got into any trouble, because to my eye, Biden passed the test. He was able to stand up there for 90 minutes and hold his own. He got a little frustrated with Donald Trump, but so did Chris Wallace, and I think so did a lot of America that was watching. It was pretty frustrating. I thought Donald Trump did pretty good when he kept hitting on the point of, I've done more in 47 months than you did in 47 years. And I thought it was interesting when he said that name one law enforcement agency that is supporting you, and Biden either could not do that or did not do that. But it was an interesting moment, or a highlight, I guess, for Donald Trump.
Right. Yeah, there were a couple of moments that stood out. Certainly, again, going back to Biden and, disavowing pretty much the Green New Deal, the president being asked about the Proud Boys, that more far-right group that's been showing up to protest, and, really kind of speaking to the Proud Boys, saying, stand down and stand by, something like that. And so he didn't get distance between himself and groups that the left hates. So that would be further inflaming the other side. So he had an opportunity there to separate himself a little bit, and he didn't take it. And look, I mean, this one's in the books. The next one is going to be moderated, I believe, by a C-SPAN host, and they're used to quiet over there. So I'm not sure how they're going to handle these two candidates.
Yeah, a lot of people on Twitter were sort of talking about maybe we need a mute button or cut the mics or something along those lines. I think Chris Wallace is great, and I don't know anyone really who could have got in the middle of that and put a stop to it. He certainly tried a couple of times, but my takeaway was that they didn't really debate much. They didn't get into the issues very deep. If you were undecided and you were looking for something, there wasn't really much to hold your hat on after 90 minutes.
No, not at all. Not at all. And it's frustrating as a viewer to be able to, be able to get any kind of substance out of something like that. So, but there are two more opportunities, provided that they actually happen. There's some people calling for Biden not to go back because there wasn't substance, but maybe getting another go. And keep in mind, there's a vice presidential debate on October 7th. And Pence has a very different debating style, so maybe more substance will come out of that.
All right. Rachel Sutherland, Fox News correspondent and WJR contributor. Thanks so much for being on the show today.
Thanks.
All right. Let's check in with traffic and weather with our own Dana Clark.
This report is sponsored by Indeed.com. If finding a high-impact hire is a serious goal for your business, use Indeed. Their flexible payment options mean better bang for your buck with no long-term contracts. Indeed will even give you a $75 credit for your first sponsored job post at Indeed.com/high-impact. Terms and conditions apply.
Vehicle fire blocking the left lane in Plymouth Township along M14 westbound after 275. Now, WJR weather first from the Weather Channel, sponsored by Reamer Floors. National Karastan Month is happening now at Reamer Floors. Lowest prices of the season, 36-month financing, and an instant rebate up to $1,000 on Karastan carpet, hardwood, and luxury vinyl floors. Visit ReamerFloors.com to schedule your shop at home or in-store appointment.
Get ourselves into some clearing sky today. Now the front's through, clouds around as we head on through the early morning hours, but a cloud-sun mix will become mostly cloudy later today with a high of 63. Few clouds tonight, 48. Outlying areas a little bit cooler. And we should see some showers and thunderstorms in here Wednesday with highs in the low 60s. From a Weather Channel meteorologist Ray Stagik on News Talk 760 WJR.
All right, this week's IHS Market Minute with Devin Lindsay is brought to you by Orea. Orea builds quiet, comfortable, durable into your vehicle.
So you're looking to purchase a new car in the state of California in 2035. Well, you can have any powertrain you want as long as it's electric. California Governor Gavin Newsom signed an executive order setting a goal of requiring all new passenger cars and trucks sold in the state to be zero-emission vehicles, which are battery electric or fuel cell, by the year 2035. Now, all of this comes as California remains locked in a legal battle with the Trump administration. The state is suing to reinstate a waiver that allows it to set its own fuel economy standards that are separate from the federal government's. If Donald Trump is reelected, we expect the battle to be decided in the courts. But if Joe Biden is elected, we expect California to have its waiver reinstated. So you may be asking, can automakers just choose not to sell cars in California if it does not want to invest in an entire fleet of electric vehicles just to fill a dealership? Sure, but California is the largest light vehicle market in the United States, representing 11% of total U.S. sales last year. That really makes it a state that can't be ignored by the automotive companies. I am Devin Lindsay with the IHS Market Minute.
With a lineage of proven performance, a collaborative approach, and strategic locations across the globe, Aria is crafting the newest science of automotive acoustic and textile solutions. From acoustic products that reduce cabin noise to a wide range of flooring and other interior solutions that provide luxury, durability, and comfort, Aria is creating the next wave of automotive innovation. To find out more, visit ariasolutions.com.
Tune into a special edition of The Frank Beckman Show live from the Strategic Staffing Solutions' new global headquarters in Detroit to celebrate their 30th year in business this Thursday at 9 a.m. This special broadcast is presented by Strategic Staffing Solutions.
Protecting Michigan's waters is critically important. So is providing the energy that fuels Michigan's quality of life. A tunnel for Line 5 is the right solution. Enbridge is committed to building this underground concrete tunnel housing Line 5, deep under the Straits of Mackinac. This means multiple layers of protection, virtually no chance of a leak into the Great Lakes, no possibility of an anchor strike, and no interruption to the energy that Michigan needs. Learn more at enbridge.com/line5tunnel.
Mommy, can you help me with my math?
Hey, sorry, I'm about to start a call. Where's your father?
Hey, bud, I'll be right there. Give me a second with Mommy. Have you seen this mailer from Gary Peters?
Who?
Gary Peters.
Should I know him?
Apparently, he's our senator, and now it's an election year, so I'm sure he hopes so.
Some senator he is.
Yeah, I've seen the ads and decided to look things up myself. Turns out he's pretty much the invisible man.
The invisible man?
Yeah, he's been a politician in Michigan for 30 years.
Oh, he must have done something for us in that time.
Sure, if you count voting to raise our taxes 106 times.
He voted to take our money.
Yeah, and get this, he skipped work while getting rich in public office. Blew off 84% of small business hearings and 80% of hearings on pandemic preparedness while doubling his personal wealth.
And now he wants our vote.
Dad!
Okay, I'm coming.
Hank has joined the meeting.
Hey, Hank, you won't believe what I just heard about Gary Peters.
Who?
I'm John James. I'm running for the Senate, and I approve this ad.
Paid for by John James for Senate.
What if I told you that you could replace your windows, your roof, and your siding for just $6 a day? I didn't say windows, roof, or siding for $6 a day. I said all three, windows, roof, and siding, for just $6 a day. It's true. Just call Performance Remodeling at 586-540-6000 or online at windowsroofingsiding.com. You might be thinking, I don't need all three, windows, roofing, and siding. No problem. Just windows, $2. Just a roof, $2. Just siding, $2. It's so incredibly inexpensive that anyone can afford it. Anyone, including you. We can do this because we have the best financing partners on the planet. Our quality and workmanship is the best in Michigan. We are the only company that offers a true full lifetime guarantee on every window, roof, and siding job we install. No fine print, no loopholes, no gotchas. So for the best windows, roofing, and siding for just $6 a day for all three, call Performance Remodeling at 586-540-6000 or online at windowsroofingsiding.com.
Now back to more Paul W. Smith on WJR. Once again, substituting, here's Kevin Dietz.
How did the presidential debate go? Well, it depends on who you talk to. And right now, we are glad to be talking to Congressman Tim Walberg. Congressman, thanks for being on the Paul W. Smith Show.
Good morning, Kevin. Good to be with you. And quite a week to be filling in for Paul W. Eh?
I know. I love the big news weeks. They're great. I know Paul loves them too. I'm sure he's up right now with a lot of commentary on what he saw last night. What was your first impression? Was it what you expected?
No, I didn't expect it quite like it was. It was, I think, if you're honest and not just totally partisan, you have to say there was a great disappointment in this debate. It really devolved into a brawl of proportions that I don't think serve us any well. And I think most of the people went away on both sides feeling disappointed in how it was prosecuted, as they say. I think certainly there were things that came out that were important to find out, but it was just over the top with motion and gut punches from both sides that really didn't serve the people well to understand who the two people were, other than both of them were angry and portrayed themselves, I think, in ways that didn't lend to final decision-making or to even changing decision-making in people's minds. The independents who are out there, those that were undecided, which is a small number, I think went away saying, that didn't settle it for me.
Yeah, I don't think either candidate showed their best side last night, and both candidates do have good sides, and it would have been nice to have seen that when we were looking for where they stood on issues, we really got a lot of insults. And as you're watching at home, it's sort of hard to fight through all those insults to find out where everybody was on the issues. But when you did get down to the issues, and we did talk about a lot of things, the economy, the race, violence in the cities, healthcare, integrity of the elections, the Supreme Court, climate, coronavirus. Hard to believe we talked about all those things, but each issue did come up. What did you think of the issues that were discussed?
I thought there were very good issue areas. I think one issue area that I think was really unfair was just bringing up the issue about the president's taxes without having the counter question of Vice President Biden about his son Hunter and what was going on with Ukraine and with China. So I thought that was a bit unfair. There should have been, if you're going to go after the president on something that really shouldn't have been gone after, except for the fact the New York Times keeps bringing it up, you should have gone with the other side as well. But on the other issues, I think there were some things you could glean from it after you got away from the overpowering punches that were coming. And I think definitely the president showed significant power and was trying to override Joe Biden. But if you talked about key issues such as the lowest unemployment rate in history, the African American, Hispanic, Asian, and even women being close to the lowest unemployment rate in history, the president, I've heard him spout those off perfectly during rallies, just one after another. The fact of 7 million jobs being available and going wanting before March hit, criminal justice reform, next step for prisoners coming out of jail to get jobs and again get back into the economy, the military expenditures, warp speed with COVID. We could have talked about that more fully. The vice president was unwilling to answer the question about packing the court. That's an important thing from understanding. He wouldn't answer it. Dealing with the Supreme Court and the filibuster that has already been talked about as Democrats having a chance, they'll do away with that and they'll pack the court to do away with what the American people said in 2018 and 2016 before that. So those are issues that I think could have been brought up more and talked about. Middle East peace, Israel, UAE, the Bahrain. I've heard the president talk about this. And fortunately, when it comes down to voting, I think, Kevin, you and I both heard that debates don't generally do all that much in changing the course of what the election will be. And so I think there is that hope as people look at the policy and see what was happening in this country before the COVID virus hit coming from China. The president's handling of the economy, tax reform, tax cuts, regulatory reform, and all of the rest, I think, will carry the day. The policy will. And so that's why, as a strong supporter of President Trump, because of what he's done, his policy, I was disappointed to see it devolve into this boxing match that went on that really overshadowed talking about the things, the accomplishments, the unbelievable accomplishments. It's even led to 2 Nobel Peace Prize nominations for the president. None of that was there and evident last night because it was overshadowed by the fisticuffs that were going on.
Yeah, I do think that watching what happened last night, I think that a lot of Americans are going to just come back and say, well, what are the most important issues to me? And then they're going to go, where does each candidate stand on these issues, and then go that way. I don't think this debate really helped anybody say, boy, that's my guy up there. I really can't wait to go vote for this person on either side. I did want to ask you, what do you think happened with the president when he was asked to denounce white supremacists, and he kind of went off, wanted to talk about Antifa and the left, and it wasn't very strong about denouncing the Proud Boys?
Yeah, I certainly don't. In fact, I did hear him say Proud Boys, no, but it was just overshadowed by all the shouting that was going on. But no, he didn't come out as directly, because I think the president still is smarting from 4 years of attacks from the national media, from the Democrats, who have never acknowledged the fact that he won the election fair and square. And I think that is the challenge. And then seeing cities burn and all the rest, and Democrat mayors letting this happen and not accepting help, I think has brought him to the point of saying, wait a second. Yeah, sure. I don't support white supremacy, but doggone it, you're looking at Antifa, you're looking at BLM as an organization, not as Black Lives Matter as a policy, but an organization that's Marxist, that's trying to tear down our society. And so I think the president often gets caught in the reality of what he's fighting, as opposed to putting out the spin statements that a lot of us want to hear, simple statements that are easy to give by a guy like Joe Biden, who can call the president a clown, a liar, and shut up, man, during the course of the evening, and can answer those questions, but can't go into the depth, or isn't willing to go into the depth that the president has to deal with, that these are organizations that are trying to bring down America, not just him, but bring down America. So I think he gets caught up in that, and I feel for him, because I feel the same way. But sometimes you have to just stop and answer first and say, yeah, I am absolutely opposed to white supremacy. It is wrong in every way, shape, or form, Proud Boys, etc. But don't forget, the majority of the violence going on is a result of Antifa, and don't tell me it's not a real organization. or Black Lives Matter as an organization that doesn't really care about Black lives, just cares about bringing down our society. So, yeah, it was frustrating to hear that, but I think people have to understand, especially when they're seeing the support that's coming from the law enforcement agencies, and even the growing support within the African American community and Hispanic community that is very evident. If you just look, that you got to give him some latitude on just being, angry that it's gone on for 4 years, and the policy changes that have brought about some of the best times in American history for the economy. And now even with COVID, warp speed that is bringing to the table. And you can bring up arguments and say that we can't trust the science that's going on with all these pharmaceutical companies who are making great strides and have told us that we can be reasonably certain that there is going to be a vaccine before the end of this year. Rather than tearing that down, we ought to draw together. And I think that's the frustration the president feels. But I tell you what, it was a difficult watch last night. And having been in a lot of debates myself, I've never been in one like that. And I hope I don't see another one again. And we have 2 more to come, and a vice presidential debate. And yet the policy, hopefully people will look at the policy that led to everything before March and is already starting to result in things changing during the pandemic, the economy going up again, and half of the jobs lost during the COVID virus has already been put back in place. So as Americans, let's lighten up ourselves. Let's look at what makes America great, and let's push forward for November.
All right, Congressman Tim Walberg, thanks for stopping by the Paul W. Smith Show this morning.
Kevin, great to be with you. Have a great day.
All right, you too. Let's check traffic with Dana Clark.
This report is sponsored by SafeExcavator.com. Call or click 811 before you dig. There's a lot of stuff underground you can't see, and every few minutes somebody digs into a line, pipe, cable, or wire. Don't be that person. Call or click 811 before you dig and visit SafeExcavator.com.
Traffic First, sponsored by the Cremation Society of Michigan. For over 32 years, the Cremation Society of Michigan has been providing dignified cremation services without the cost of traditional funerals. For cremation information, contact the Cremation Society of Michigan at 1-800-241-3131 or visit cremationmichigan.com. Vehicle fire still blocking your 2 left lanes. This is in Plymouth Township along M14 westbound after 275. Now, WJR Weather First from the Weather Channel, sponsored by Shelving.com. Shelving.com has been providing wire and metal shelving, unirack, pallet racking, and space-saving products for 60 years. They now also carry trusted Milwaukee tools to get your warehouse or business equipped for the job at hand. Maximize space and work performance. Visit Shelving.com. That's Shelving.com. We rack your world. We are expecting rain showers throughout the day today. Could see some thunder, a high of 63 tonight, partly cloudy skies, your low 46. I'm Dana Clark, WJR News, with Marie Osborne in less than 1 minute.
Timeshare owners, what I'm about to share may save you thousands of dollars. I'm Gordon Newton, president of the Newton Group and author of The Consumer's Guide to Timeshare Exit. In the last 15 years, I've heard everything imaginable from exit companies trying to get you to hire them. I've heard them advertise a money-back guarantee. The truth is those guarantees fall flat time and time again as bad exit companies file for bankruptcy and take your money with them. I've heard them try to earn your trust, claiming they pioneered timeshare cancellation in 2008. The ugly truth is that's not possible. Newton Group has been leading the exit industry long before that. I've even heard exit companies pay celebrity endorsers to convince you they're experts. The truth is, the experts at Newton Group wrote the Consumer's Guide to Timeshare Exit. Every year, timeshare owners lose millions of dollars by hiring the wrong exit company. If you want out of your timeshare, call Newton Group at 800-800-1764 for your free no-obligation consultation and free copy of the guide. That's 800-800-1764 or newtongroup.com.
WJR Detroit and WDVD HD2 Detroit. 760 WJR, where Detroit comes.
How we doing, Kev? You need anything?
Oh no, how are you doing? Pat, it's Riley.
Yes. Patty Riley.
Patty Riley.
Yeah.
That's really good. Isn't Pat Riley a basketball coach?
Yes.
That'd be funny if he called it on the debates.
Yeah. I'm interested in Patty. I think it'll be interesting to see what, to look at the image and all that, because I know what I think, but I want to see if she thinks what I think.
Well, I was laughing reading obviously, you book the guest before the debate, right? So it's not, it's like, it says presidential debates offer candidates a chance to match wits in real time in front of a live TV audience. Unfortunately, it's the wit rather than command of the facts or their stances on the issues of the day most viewers remember. At this point, because everything is orchestrated, these presidential debate events are usually very well rehearsed. Not so much.
You couldn't rehearse that one.
Not so much.
If that was rehearsed. I don't know. I thought that Congressman Wahlberg's comments were really interesting and well thought out. And I thought it was nice that he's doing what I'm talking about. He's not being totally partisan. He's trying to do what we're trying to do, say, okay, this didn't work for either candidate.
I feel if he was a Democrat, he would have said the exact same thing, that here's Joe Biden's issues that he's strong on. This is what he should have said. This is how he should have said it. And this is where I think President Trump is doing a bad job and been clear. And he was, that's what you call a gentleman politician or a polite politician. And
it's honest though.
Honest politician. Yeah. Even with the Proud Boys thing, I thought his answer was really good. The president, and that's why I'll go back and watch it. It seemed like he tried to say, "Yeah, I'll denounce whoever you want. What are you calling them? What do you want to call them? I'll denounce them." But the real problem is Antifa. It sounded like he was trying to say that. He did a horrible job of saying that. And what came out is like, you're radical, your far leftist agitators are bad, but I'm not going to say a bunch bad about the ones on the right. That's what it sounded like, But when you're in live television, live debate, it doesn't always come out the way you think it is. And it seemed to me like he was trying to win that debate, win that issue, and that was not an issue to win. Like the congressman said, that was an issue to come out and say, I am against white supremacist groups, Proud Boys and the rest of them, all of them, against it. But I'm against it on both sides. And, he really missed the opportunity there.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. And sometimes when I think Rick Santorum said last night that the president came out hot.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think if sometimes, if that's what he decided to do, if you come out really hot, even us on any given day, you're going to miss a lot of stuff. You're on the ready to roll.
Yeah, my first notes that I wrote were that they both came out pretty calm and confident and started out pretty even keeled, and that was 2 minutes, and then it was gone.
It was off to the races.
Yeah, it was off to the races.
I'm wondering if that's advice that he got, or I'm wondering what kind of advice they got.
I think, if Donald Trump looked like he was in his press conference, and that's where he's comfortable, like a rally. He was going to stay in his mind, in his place, and do what he does.
A little bit of an attack mode.
Yeah, if he had done 1/3 of it, it might have come off well, but the constant unrelenting, and then when he was interrupting Chris Wallace, then that was over the top. That's not his job to overwhelm a moderator.
Saturdays at 3 on News 760 WJR.
From the great voice of the Great Lakes, this is Paul W. Smith on WJR with Kevin Dietz filling in for Paul.
Debate or debacle? Disappointing, dysfunctional, discouraging, a real downer. Good morning. I'm Kevin Dietz. It's Wednesday, September the 30th at 7:06 a.m. You're listening to the Paul W. Smith Show. Thanks for stopping by on WJR 760 a.m., where Detroit comes to talk. Joining us now is Patty Riley. She is an image and presentation specialist, sort of a business coach, a political coach, somebody who looks at the way people present themselves. She says it's really important, and there was a lot to look at last night. So let's welcome Patty Riley into the show. Patty, thanks for being on the Paul W. Smith Show.
Oh my gosh, thank you for having me. Wow, what did we just witness, America? I don't even know what happened. You brought up three very good words to start this, but it's true that with political branding, I think we all have a certain mindset on what we want our future leader of the free world to look like. And honestly, it was hard to concentrate on anything outside of basically the battle that was going on that stage.
Yeah, it was a bit of a dumpster fire, if you will. I was looking at the intro of what we were going to talk about in the preview. Because obviously we booked you before the debate, and it said in the description, it said because everything is so orchestrated, these presidential debate events are usually very well rehearsed, and so you may not get to see the person very well or know the person very well. Well, that didn't happen. I think we got to see a lot. What did you see when you looked at the two candidates?
Well, what I saw, number one, they wore the shorthand, the suit that we all expect to see with President Trump, that boxy, slightly oversized look. I thought when Biden came out, I wanted to fix his tie ever so slightly. But when we moved on from there, what I saw was a very strong, powerful stance from President Trump that he never really wavered from, and he clearly bullied throughout that entire debate, the hour and a half, which was painful. And unfortunately for Biden, I have to say public perception might be questioning his steadiness. I felt like there were often times where he came across as being a little bit unsteady from the way he glanced down at notes. His eye language, if you will, spoke volumes. And I know that he was trying to take the high road. And how can you perform at your peak when you're being railroaded like that, though? So I really don't fault him. I can't imagine what that must have been like, to be perfectly honest. But public perception will see that as being a little bit unsteady, unfortunately.
I noticed Joe Biden a little bit early on was sort of smirking or grimacing a lot, and I just got the sense that maybe he's I don't want to say nervous, but just a little uneasy, waiting to get into his rhythm a little bit. But he did kind of have that smirk. What did you see that, or did you notice that?
Oh, I absolutely did. And I think that, listen, he had a great team that have been coaching him. What I did notice that smirk, I think was obviously his way of communicating his feelings in regards to the lies that were being spilled forth on the stage. But what I did like, and I will say with Biden, is that he would direct his commentary to the camera. And so he was clearly making an effort to connect and speak directly to the American people. So I never really saw that ever from Trump. Maybe I missed it. I was closing my eyes most of the time when he was on, but I felt like Biden would do a direct to camera. So I appreciated that.
So two of the words that people like to use when they talk about this stuff is likable and relatable. Did you find anything likable or relatable in either of the candidates last night?
I have to be honest. I felt like when Joe Biden was talking about his son and defending that position of his son, when he felt obviously attacked by Trump. And in that moment, when you could clearly sense a strength in his voice and conviction, and he pivoted and he turned to Trump to address him, I really did feel relatable, because who wouldn't feel that way when somebody was bringing up a member of their family? But obviously what we look for is that combination of dignified and confident. And I felt like the dignified was lacking. The confidence, it was overdone on one side and not enough on the other side. It wasn't consistent, but I did feel in that moment that Joe Biden came across as being relatable.
We're used to hearing Donald Trump call people names. He's done it, for 4 years. But last night we heard Joe Biden call Donald Trump a clown, a racist, a liar, told him to shut up, man. Does that make him more relatable because a lot of America feels that way? Or does that make him look a little less presidential because he's down in the mud?
I'm glad you brought that up, because I thought I was sort of surprised when I heard those words coming out of his mouth. And you know what? I chuckled at it, because I did think that is what a lot of people are thinking, and he's saying it. So you're on point there. Absolutely. I think that a lot of people will relate to that because it's what we're thinking, and he actually said it. So that I give him some points for that.
Okay. Well, Patty, thanks for joining us. We really appreciate you coming on this morning, and we look forward to hopefully we can get you again on after the second one, and hopefully we see something new in the next one.
I hope so too. Have a great morning. Thanks for having me.
All right, you bet. Right now, we're going to check WJR's Business Beat. Here's Jeff Sloan, founder and CEO of Startup Nation, to spotlight the entrepreneurial, tech, and startup community right here on WJR.
Good morning, Kevin. Having a vibrant startup ecosystem in a region requires several key ingredients. You have to have exciting innovations and creative thinking. You have to have great people to lead these startups, and you have to have funding to catalyze the nascent company and ignite its growth. And speaking of funding, angel funding in particular is critical because it's the type of funding commonly used in the earliest funding rounds, without which you never get to the later growth stages and to venture capital investing into the company. For those who may not know, angel funding is funding provided by wealthy individuals into a company directly, as opposed to funding coming from institutional investors. As many of you may know, I lead a startup studio in Birmingham, which depends on funding from angels. And I have to admit, when we saw angel funding activity pause during the first few months of the pandemic, I was really concerned. But amazingly, we are now seeing angel funding reemerging and doing so with a strong appetite to do deals. To put the importance of angel funding in context, in 2019, there were 1,322 individuals who invested a combined $73.6 million in 106 early-stage tech startups here in the region, as Crane's Detroit Business reported in May. Recently, the emergence of 2 new funds in the region comes as deal flow has remained fairly steady for existing angel groups, such as the Birmingham Angels, the Michigan Angel Fund, and the Michigan Capital Network, which operates a variety of venture funds and angel groups around the state. As reported in this week's Cranes, first we're seeing new angel groups forming in the state with recent announcements of the launch of the ARC Angel Fund, consisting of members from the Farmington Hills-based Chaldean American Chamber of Commerce, and that fund will be led by Martin Manna, and the launch of the Detroit-based Commune Angels, a group funded by 5 Black professionals who seek to be the largest angel group in the state within the coming year or so, said Terrence Reeves, one of the Commune Angels co-founders. Skip Sims, Senior Vice President at Ann Arbor Spark and Managing Partner of the Michigan Angel Fund, says, having a wide variety of groups to pitch allows founders to have more shots on goal, as Skip put it, to their quest in finding funding. He continued by saying, I think angel groups are working more closely than ever in terms of sharing deal flow, because one thing that hasn't changed and probably won't is the need to syndicate, Sims said. An entrepreneur isn't going to get 100% of their funding from just one of these groups. Rather, they'll get it from a variety of groups. Cranes further reports that Birmingham Angels has grown to a membership of between 15 and 20 members, as David Weaver, one of the co-managers of the group, reports. And Tim Parker, president of the Grand Rapids-based Michigan Capital Network, reports good activity from his group as well. Combined, the funds are roughly on pace to do the same level of deals and investment as they did in 2019. Last year, Parker's venture funds invested $1.1 million, while angel funds did $2.8 million, he said. This year so far, VC investment has reached $1.8 million, while angel investments stand at $1.3 million, Parker told Cranes. So new groups being formed, investments being made at a pace that is relatively on par with last year's investment pace. This is all really good news. So if you're a startup company looking to get angel funding to get your company off the ground, chin up. Money is flowing again. Now get out there and get your startup a piece of the action. I'm Jeff Sloan, founder and CEO of StartupNation.com, and that's today's Business Beat on the great voice of the Great Lakes, WJR.
This report is sponsored by SafeExcavator.com. Call or click 811 before you dig. There's a lot of stuff underground you can't see, and every few minutes somebody digs into a line, pipe, cable, or wire. Don't be that person. Call or click 811 before you dig and visit SafeExcavator.com.
Couple of spots out there, Kevin, moving slow, 75 northbound, stop and go between 8 and 9 Mile. Also seeing delays 94 eastbound between Middle Belt and Ecorse Road. Earlier vehicle fire is clear from M14 westbound after 275. Now, WJR Weather First from the Weather Channel, sponsored by Gordon Chevrolet. Gordon Chevrolet, where not only do you pick your payment, but now pick your program. Need to pull ahead your lease? Do you need GM employee pricing or a low payment with zero interest? Let Gordon Chevrolet help you find it on Ford Road, just west of Merriman in Garden City. GordonChevrolet.com. Gordon Chevrolet, find new roads.
Yeah, it seems it'll be cool weather will continue. Mix of clouds and sunshine this morning. Might see a little more cloud this afternoon, but still some sun, high 63. Tonight, some clouds in town, about 48. Suburbs a little cooler. And we may see a few more showers and thunderstorms tomorrow with highs in the low 60s. From the Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray Stajic, News Talk 760 WJR.
It could be a routine drive to pick up the kids after school or an epic road trip across the country. No matter where your travels take you, we know those miles count. We're Marathon. We have over 5,700 stations across our great nation. Our people are working hard every day to provide you with quality top-tier gasoline to improve engine performance and fuel your life. Marathon, fueling the American spirit.
Wherever your family calls home, Blue Cross is here for you. By supporting and building healthy communities in every zip code, we're providing a healthier future for all of Michigan. For 81 years, we've kept this promise to help strengthen our neighbors, to stand by their side during the moments they need us most. We're here for it all, and always will be. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan. Confidence comes with every card. To learn more, visit hereforitall.com.
Timeshare owners, what I'm about to share may save you thousands of dollars. I'm Gordon Newton, president of the Newton Group and author of The Consumer's Guide to Timeshare Exit. In the last 15 years, I've heard everything imaginable from exit companies trying to get you to hire them. I've heard them advertise a money-back guarantee. The truth is those guarantees fall flat time and time again as bad exit companies file for bankruptcy and take your money with them. I've heard them try to earn your trust claiming they pioneered timeshare cancellation in 2008. The ugly truth is that's not possible. Newton Group has been leading the exit industry long before that. I've even heard exit companies pay celebrity endorsers to convince you they're experts. The truth is the experts at Newton Group wrote The Consumer's Guide to Timeshare Exit. Every year, timeshare owners lose millions of dollars by hiring the wrong exit company. If you want out of your timeshare, call Newton Group at 800-800-1764 for your free no-obligation consultation and free copy of the guide. That's 800-800-1764 or newtongroup.com.
I'm Joe Gannon. Do you know the best washer and dryer made today? What comes from China or Korea? And what was manufactured in the good old USA? You're going to find out when I return this weekend.
Giving tips and advice on home appliances and helping consumers for 36 years. Joe Gannon is the appliance doctor on the Home and Appliance Show. Weekend morning 6 to 8 on News Talk 760 WJR.
Now back to more Paul W. Smith on WJR. Once again, substituting, here's Kevin Dietz.
Debate 2020, maybe not what we expected, but are we really surprised? It was definitely more insults than issues. But we want to hear from you at 7:35 this morning. We're going to take your calls. So we want you to pick up your phones and give us a call at 1-800-859-0957, 1-800-859-0WJR. We're going to take your calls and your texts at 7:35. But right now, we want to welcome Aaron Call of the University of Michigan. He is the director of debates there at the school. Welcome to the Paul W. Smith Show.
Well, it's great to be back.
Well, Aaron, when we talked yesterday, we talked about what we might see. I'm not quite sure we expected to see that. I'm not completely surprised, but I was hoping for more.
Yeah, I agree. There was a lot of anticipation. The stakes were so great. The candidates knew the 6 important topics in advance. And I agree. I don't think the debate lived up to what people were expecting or wanting, especially if there were some that were undecided and wanted information from the debate to help inform their judgments. And I think people thought it'd be contentious. The president would be aggressive. We saw the debates between Trump and Clinton in 2016, but this was certainly like those debates on steroids and at a different level. And yeah, it just seemed to cross a line of just a lot of back and forth bickering and ad hominem attacks, speaking over each other, and not in the tradition of the finest presidential debates, for sure. It's an understatement.
Yeah, I don't know. There's so many interruptions and insults. I don't know if they were thinking, hey, the country's looking at us. We're older guys. Maybe we need to show how tough we are still, or something along those lines. But it was relentless for sure. It did go on pretty much for the whole 90 minutes. But they did talk about some issues. Were you able to find any points in the debate that made one candidate or the other stand out on the issues?
Yeah, President Trump, had a pretty good start. He benefited that the Supreme Court was the first topic, given the untimely passing of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and he had just announced his replacement for the position, Amy Coney Barrett, on Saturday. And, historically, the Supreme Court has been a good issue for the president, Republicans, and, enthused turnout. And I thought it gave a pretty good defense of, if the president and Senate are one party, why they'd be able to, should be able to make a appointment at this time, and that, presidencies are 4 years. And so you started strong on an issue that otherwise likely would have started out with coronavirus, and talked about the hundreds of judges that he had confirmed, which has been, a winning issue for him. For Joe Biden, empathy continued to be one of his strong suits. He's gone through a lot of personal tragedy, and I thought on the issue of coronavirus, it was real. He talked about just the amount of people that have died and family suffering, and he also connected that issue to the economy and healthcare and even racial, relations and tensions, and talked directly to the American people while looking at the camera directly. So both of them did have high points, and when they weren't arguing just with each other and leveling ad hominem attacks and accusations, they could be persuasive at times. You could tell that they had thought about the topics in advance, and just wish there was more of that uninterrupted, unfiltered discussion and talk about policy. But we'll see. I guess maybe that could be part of the last 2 remaining debates.
You talked about the Supreme Court being the first issue. How do you think Joe Biden handled the issue of packing the court?
Yes, pretty deftly. I think, it's you want to hold your powder dry. So many things would need to happen before that's even a possibility. Winning control of the Senate, and then getting rid of the filibuster, and then having 50 votes to do it, and getting moderates there, and so that's something that you don't want to be too presumptuous about. Even like Chuck Schumer said, all options will be on the table if this happens. And so I think that he was able to get away with I'm not going to take a position on that because I don't want to change the subject. But if he were to say it, then a lot of people could be concerned, and it could hurt their ability, the Democrats, to even retake the Senate. And so it was a position he'd taken before the debate, but just kind of it got lost in everything else. And just given what was happening with the Biden and everything, he wasn't pushed maybe as firmly as I thought he would to kind of have an answer on that. And so I think for him, he probably viewed that as a victory on that issue.
Yeah, with COVID, it was sort of like, well, you should have done more and saved more lives, and then Trump saying, well, you would have killed 2 million people. I didn't get a ton out of that, but what surprised me a little bit was the climate. I felt like I learned a little bit about Donald Trump's thoughts on that, and then Joe Biden pushing away from the radical Green New Deal showed me something that I didn't expect.
Yes, totally unexpected. I mean, they come out with the 6 topics, and climate change was not one of them. And there was a lot of criticism given everything with the hurricanes and the fires happening in California and Oregon that need to be an issue. And I think maybe the moderator, Chris Wallace, took some of that and made sure to get a question in about that. And yes, President Trump wasn't as maybe dismissing. Didn't dismiss as previously, kind of the human interaction with rising temperatures and global warming, and so I thought he maybe just kind of playing to some moderate voters. That was a little bit of reversal, but then yes, on the Green New Deal and in a lot of different places, I think that Trump gave Biden the opportunity to. Really for Biden to separate himself from, the more radical left, as President Trump described it. He said he was, against, the defunding police and the Green New Deal. Said that, Bernie Sanders was, he was a socialist and he defeated him. And at the very beginning of the debate said that he was the Democratic Party. And so as long as, the AOCs of the world and others will still vote for Biden, I think amongst moderates, maybe those that voted for Trump, but had voted for Obama previously, then it helped. It helped him kind of say that he was more moderate and, would not, as president, he wouldn't be influenced by maybe that some that people feel are too progressive. So yeah, that was a totally unexpected part of the debate, but likely benefited Biden a little bit politically.
All right, Aaron Call, University of Michigan, Director of Debate. Thanks for being on the show. Hopefully, both camps will learn a little bit and move in a little different direction next time around. Thanks for being on the show.
Anytime. We can always help.
All right. Coming up after the break, we want to hear from you. The phone numbers are 1-800-859-0957, 1-800-859-0WJR. What did you think of the debate? Let's hear from our listeners. Right now, let's hear from our good friend, Dana Clark, with traffic and weather.
This report is sponsored by T-Mobile for Business. T-Mobile Business Advantage. Get up to 90 days of unlimited free on business plans via bill credits when you switch, plus taxes and fees. Stop by for details. Over 50 gigabytes per month. Have lower speeds during congestion. Video at 480p. See T-Mobile.com.
Traffic First also sponsored by the Restore Wellness Center. Are you experiencing nagging body pain? The Restore Wellness Center can help relieve or eliminate neck and back pain, arthritis, tendonitis, muscle soreness, and more. Call the state's best non-invasive laser therapy treatment centers today. Get your first treatment free. Call 800-935-5959 in Brighton, Shelby, and Bloomfield, or restorewellnesscenter.com. Seeing a delay along 696 westbound because of construction between Gratiot and Groesbeck. Your left 2 lanes are closed until 5 p.m. Seeing some brake lights through that stretch. 90 for eastbound at.
So we'll try some phone calls when we get back.
Yeah, we'll see if that works out. This morning is flying by. I can't believe it. We start to get in a conversation. I look up and it's time already, and I'm like, wow, it's just
because it's chock full of.
Yeah, every guest has said something different. It's not like it's just the exact same. It's just really moving along for me anyway.
Oh, Don didn't like Patty.
Yeah, I'm not sure what.
I wondered.
I thought she was pretty critical of both of them. She said Biden was unsteady and Trump was a bully, unless I assume she's talking about the body language expert.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You could tell that she definitely didn't care for the president.
Oh yeah, no, I mean
maybe that's what Don's talking about.
But as it came to how they interacted or whatever, I actually what I caught was her saying that Biden looked unsteady, looked at his notes, didn't look terribly comfortable all the time, which was interesting because a lot of the commentary has been, he passed the test fine, but if you hold him to a higher standard, then the bar was kind of low, as people were saying. If you hold him to a higher standard, he was smirking, he was glancing at his notes, he was doing some different things. And she pointed some of that out, which is just first person to mention really any unsteadiness by Joe Biden. But debates are funny because everybody watches the same debate and everybody sees something different.
Yeah, it's really interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very interesting. Okay, so we'll try the calls. Are you you do this on some of the other shows?
Yeah.
Probably with Dave, right? So
Yeah.
you guys have a plan.
We're usually fine if the calls completely die out. Just keep an eye on us. You may
I'll pop in.
and save us. Yeah.
Sure. We can do a little.
Brian's gonna start us with a montage of cuts, and then we'll go into the calls and go from there.
I'm sure people have something.
Well, typically we upset them to the point that they'll pick up the phone one way or the other.
Yeah. Well, we don't normally do. You kind of get into a habit, right? I mean, you're used to calling in on some of the shows. Like
I call this the air traffic controller show.
It's like a magazine show.
Well, we got so many great guests that want to be on, and you guys do such a great job of getting people that it's wonderful to hear all these voices. And then in some of the other shows, you get the viewers' voices, and so it's a nice mix. It's great.
Yeah, this is more like I always describe it like a magazine show.
Yeah, so every day, and it keeps coming every day.
Right, it's like a treadmill. But I do describe it like if you want to know what's going on in the morning, tune in.
Right,
because you're going to hear a variety of different things,
and from the people who know. That's what I love about it. I mean,
Yeah, it's nice to get the movers and shakers on to tell us why they're, like Patty Poppy. That's cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's talking about this is what we're going to do and why, and you can hear it right from.
And the congressman was on, and we have a Democratic congresswoman coming up a little later in the show, I think. And
yes, we do.
So it's all good.
And it'll be interesting to see what Debbie's take on it is.
I'm sure she'll be disappointed. She's always calling for people to be better people.
Yes, I think she will be. And Joe Biden was a very close friend of John Dingell's.
Yeah,
and he was at his funeral. And
I'm sure she'll address the president talking about Hunter that way, and that's fair. It's interesting. I thought it was interesting how the congressman said it wasn't fair that they talked about the taxes, or that Chris Wallace asked a question about the taxes, but not about Hunter Biden, because those were kind of the two October surprises prior to the debate. And it's one thing if the candidate brings it up, but it's another thing if the moderator brings it up. So that was kind of interesting.
The other thing I noticed real quick was Donald Trump kept talking about how Hunter Biden got $3 million from the mayor's wife. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I think that is accurate. I mean, they'll fact check it for us, but that was reported in the last 72 hours in several different places. That he didn't just throw that out last night as the first time that was heard. What it was for, whether it was earned or not, I don't know, but.
And some of our people who are our viewers on Facebook are welcome to call in. Looks like they've got a lot of good thoughts.
We asked them to do that on one show, and
did they do it?
One did. Susan or Sally from Troy did, and she said she was so nervous. She liked commenting on her fingers, and she called in and she said, "Oh, it wasn't so bad. I'm going to do that again. I'm going to do that."
Why was she nervous? She's happy to talk to us on Facebook.
Well, it's one thing to type out your thoughts. It's another to be on, live and talking. So, but she did a great job.
Well, we've got a lot of really smart viewers this morning with really interesting, like Penny. Safe to say the biggest loser of the night is the American voter.
I know. 1-800-859-0957.
Yep. And Maria knows a lot about a lot of different issues, as does Patrick. So don't hesitate to call us. We want to hear what you think.
Unless you're going to be mean to me.
Don't be mean to Kevin.
Don't do that to me. I'm just filling in.
Yeah. I'm the fill-in.
I'm the fill-in. Don't be mean to me.
You haven't had anybody be mean to you, have you?
Nah.
You can be mean back.
You could. I don't.
That's not your
I'm
style.
typically not. That's not really me. Yeah.
In order for me to be mean back, you'd have to get me really fired up.
Right, and then look out, right?
I know, and then it's not good. So
it's like you don't want to push me that far.
No, the unfortunate part about my personality. All right. Well, I'll let you chat with the
All right
and the viewers. I'm here though. I'll be on stage.
Sounds great.
Heard about Oxford Recovery Center and the benefits hyperbaric oxygen therapy has on those with traumatic brain injuries.
One day I decided that I needed oxygen, and it really helped. The studies are there that it works wonderfully for head injuries. The brain needs oxygen.
If you or someone you love has suffered from a concussion or traumatic brain injury, don't wait. Call Oxford Recovery Center in Brighton and Troy today at 248-486-3636 or visit oxfordrecoverycenter.com. Oxford Recovery Center, where healing begins.
Now back to more Paul W. Smith on WJR. Once again, substituting, here's Kevin Dietz.
Are you willing to tell the American people tonight whether or not you will support either ending the filibuster or packing the court?
Whatever position I take on that, that'll become the issue. The issue is the American people should speak. You should go out and vote. You're in voting now. Vote and let your senators know how strongly you feel. Vote now.
Are you gonna pack the
Make
court?
sure you, in fact, let people know
He doesn't want to
you're a
answer the
senator.
question.
I'm not going to answer the question
Why
because
wouldn't you answer that
because
question?
the
You wanna
question
put a
is
lot of
the
new
question
Supreme Court
is
justice,
the
radical
question-
left.
Will you
Who
shut
is
up,
your,
man?
Listen, who is on your list, Joe? Did you use the word smart? So you said you went to Delaware State, but you forgot the name of your college. You didn't go to Delaware State. You graduated either the lowest or almost the lowest in your class. Don't ever use the word smart with me. Don't ever use that word.
Oh, give me a break.
Because you know what? There's nothing smart about you, Joe. Somebody's got to do something about Antifa and the left, because this is not a right-wing problem. This is a left-wing.
FBI director
This
said
is a
the
left-wing
threat of
problem.
white supremacists. Antifa's an idea, not an organization.
Oh, you gotta be
not
kidding.
militia. That's what
Oh,
his
it's an idea.
FBI. His
Okay.
FBI director
Gentlemen,
said.
Well,
we're
then
gonna-
you know what?
No,
He's
no,
wrong.
we're done, sir. We're moving on to the next. We're
Everybody
When
gives
a
you
bat
advice
hits
in
you
your
over the head, that's
administration.
not an idea.
Everybody in
Antifa
your
is bad.
administration tells you the truth has a bad idea.
Can I tell you what?
You have no ideas. that are-
Antifa is a dangerous
All right,
radical
gentlemen, we're
group.
now moving on to the Trump
And
and
you ought to be
Biden
careful with
records.
them. They'll overthrow you.
When
in
a
2
president,
seconds.
I'm going to ask a question.
Debate 2020. How did it go? Who won? Who lost? It depends on who you talk to. A lot of people think the clear loser was the American people, as Joe Biden and President Donald Trump yelled at each other and did a lot of name calling, more insults than issues. But we want to hear what you think. And so we've opened up the phone lines. The number is 1-800-859-0957, 1-800-859-0WJR. And let's start with Chuck calling in from a cell phone. Chuck, thanks for being on the Paul W. Smith Show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
You bet. What you think?
I love the way Trump debates. He is a guy that I can have a beer with. He's a guy I've always wanted to be in the debates against any other politician. I used to be a Democrat. I'm now a Republican because he's a fiscal conservative and can articulate it when he's not being interrupted by a monitor.
So you like you kind of like his real talk, kind of his tough talk. What did you think of Joe Biden kind of talking? He called the president a clown and a liar and told him to shut up. Did that make you feel more relatable to Joe Biden or someone you would have a beer with versus some debate where there's these politicians who are sort of talking in legalese?
I honestly, he's trying to paint a certain picture for the media to take on and hold on to it. As far as the trash talk, I mean, the way I feel is that if you have a fireman pulling you out of a building and he's cussing the whole time, after he's done saving you, are you going to turn him in because he swore? Or are you going to thank him? And honestly, we should all be thanking Trump for the economy that we had.
All right, Chuck, we appreciate you calling in. Let's check in with Bill in Lake Orion. Bill, welcome to the Paul W. Smith Show.
Thanks, Kevin. Kevin, that wasn't a debate last night. That was an alley fight. And if you looked at Trump's demeanor, it seemed like he had the demeanor of someone who knew he was losing and is going to lose. I have met 3 presidents. I met John Kennedy, I met the younger Bush, and also Bill Clinton. And those were men of character. Those were men of stature. Those were people you could respect. Last night was childish. It was an embarrassment. There was a play on Broadway several years ago called A Little Night Music, and there was a song in there, "Send in the Clowns," and we didn't know it at the time, but I think that song was written about Trump. That was just unbelievable last night. It had to be a total embarrassment to people. It was childish, it was rude, and it wasn't even entertainment. So, as I said, having met 3 presidents of character and seeing him last night, I wonder how we got here, Kevin.
Did you feel that Joe Biden was presidential last night, that he was showing character in his demeanor?
No, I didn't. That's the problem also. We have 2 people running for the highest office in the nation, and neither one of them seemed to capture the electorate last night, and that's part of the problem. And I don't know how we're going to get any better. But I got to tell you, if I'm Joe Biden, I'm not debating him again. I mean, we didn't learn anything last night. Nothing of substance came out of that last night. Chris Wallace was terrible. The whole night was just an embarrassment. And I don't know where we go from here, Kevin.
And you don't think anyone would punish Joe Biden at this point for not coming back and debating any further? He had his debate. Not much happened, or not much was discussed. It was kind of a couple of kids on the playground, like you described it. You don't think the American public would punish him for saying, "I tried that, and it's not worth my time"?
Well, when you're in an alley fight, you either win or lose, or you decide, this just wasn't worth my time. And I just don't think it was worth his time. I mean, if I was in his position, I'd say, I got my point across as best I could. And why do I want to come back and it's not even, the word is wrong, debate. I mean, why do I want to debate this guy? Because there aren't any rules. I mean, it's like a fight with no rules whatsoever. So if, I don't think he's going to suffer from saying I'm not going to debate again. I think people would be on his side and say, you know what, why go through all that? You did all the preparation. Trump did no preparation, as you could see. I mean, he stood there like he didn't even want to be there. Like it was an inconvenience for him to be there last night. That look on his face, he reminded me of one of the characters on Sesame Street, the old guy just that looks out the window all the time and scowls at people. And
Get
that's
off
what
my
he was
lawn
doing last night.
All right, Bill and
Pardon me?
Lake. I said a couple of old guys yelling, "Get off my lawn." Bill and Lake Orion, thanks for the call. We appreciate you being on the Paul W. Smith Show. After the break, we're going to hear from Congresswoman Debbie Dingell, and then we're going to go back to your calls for the whole 8 o'clock hour. So give us a call at 1-800-859-0957, 1-800-859-0WJR. We want to hear from you what you thought about the debate, winners and losers. Right now, let's check in with a winner, Traffic's Dana Clark.
This report is sponsored by SafeExcavator.com. Call or click 811 before you dig. There's a lot of stuff underground you can't see, and every few minutes somebody digs into a line, pipe, cable, or wire. Don't be that person. Call or click 811 before you dig and visit SafeExcavator.com.
Kevin, still watching that accident 94 eastbound at Ecorse Road. A wreck blocks the right lane, seeing delays from at least a middle belt. 75 northbound, slow between Crooks and Adams, tapping the brakes through that stretch. Now, WJR weather first from the Weather Channel, sponsored by the Cremation Society of Michigan. For over 32 years, the Cremation Society of Michigan has been providing dignified cremation services without the cost of traditional funerals. For cremation information, contact the Cremation Society of Michigan at 1-800-241-3131 or visit cremationmichigan.com.
That'll be cool here as we head through the next couple of days with a reinforcing shot of chilly air coming on in. Clouds mixed with sunshine this morning. See a little more cloud later today, 63. Tonight, a few clouds around 48. Suburbs a little bit cooler. Tomorrow, some scattered showers and thunderstorms with highs in the low 60s. From a Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray Stagicon, News Talk 760 WJR.
DTE wants you to use less energy and save more. Water heating alone consumes about 90% of the energy it takes to operate a clothes washer. So increase efficiency by washing in cold water and cleaning the filter on your dryer after each load. To get more tips, qualify for rebates, recycle appliances, or shop for discounts on energy-efficient products, go to dteenergy.com/saveenergy and see how easy it is to save. DTE.
Lear, a global automotive technology leader in seating and E-systems, headquartered in Southfield, Michigan, has a reputation for identifying industry trends and acting on them. It's a position they've earned by engineering and manufacturing superior vehicle technology with constant reliability and excellence. But what really sets Lear apart is their track record of responsibility, honoring commitments to the team, and the unwavering support of the communities where they do business. A diverse global culture that understands that they can achieve more together. As the industry continues to transform, Lear faces the future of the vehicle with an even bolder vision, one that is connected, electrified, and sustainable, and one that enables them to make every product, every experience, and every drive better than the one that came before it. Lear, making every drive better.
Donald Trump says we're not safe in Biden's America, but we're living in Trump's America now. And 200,000 Americans have died from the virus that he lied about.
The simple truth is, Donald Trump failed to protect America. So now, he's trying to scare America. Mr. Trump, you want to talk about fear? Do you know if people are afraid they're going to get COVID? They're afraid they're going to get sick and die. And that is in no small part because of you.
Joe Biden will protect the American people, putting our safety above all else.
I want a safe America. Safe from COVID. Safe from crime and looting. Safe from racially motivated violence. I promise you this, we will do better. There's not a single thing beyond our capacity when we decide to do it together. I'm Joe Biden, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Biden for president.
WJR brings you college football this fall. Tune in at 3 p.m. every Saturday as WJR replays MSU Spartan Football Classics, sponsored by Chupin Recycling. Help solve food insecurity in Michigan. Hear thought leaders from across the state on Food First Michigan with Dr. Phil Knight and Jerry Brisson. Sunday nights at 9 on WJR, presented by Farm Bureau Insurance of Michigan and the Food Bank Council of Michigan.
2020 took a different path than we expected, but it definitely didn't slow our pace. Planet M has helped private and public entities work together to advance the future of mobility technology along a challenging course. Working together has been the key to staying on the right path. So whether you're just getting started or already an industry leader, Planet M is your connection to Michigan's mobility ecosystem and our future. If you're ready to make a move with your business, see how we can help at planetem.com/pure-partnership.
Hear this.
WJR.
Here. Whether you start your day the WJR way or stay in the know with Fox News Radio, TuneIn has the local and national news you want to hear. Download TuneIn from your app store. Listen for free.
TuneIn. Now back to more Paul W. Smith on WJR. Once again substituting, here's Kevin Dietz.
The issues were supposed to be the economy, race, violence in America, healthcare, the Supreme Court, integrity of the election, COVID-19. They also threw in the climate and a little bit on the October surprises of taxes and Hunter Biden. Mostly what I heard was interruptions and insults. It was a disappointing debate for me, but we want to hear what Congresswoman Debbie Dingell heard and what she thought of last night's debate. Debbie, welcome to the Paul W. Smith Show.
Well, good morning, Kevin, and it's always great to be with you. I don't think this is the favorite topic I've ever had.
You're such an upbeat person, and there was just a lot that was kind of a downer last night. But we want to hear what your thoughts were on it.
Well, I guess I'm probably not supposed to say this on radio, but I thought Dana Bash summed it up perfectly when she called it a shit show. So forgive me. But, it was exhausting. It was depressing. And it was just a new low. I mean, I think that's what bothers me more than anything is the new low that it came for in American politics. Donald Trump came to that debate prepared to bully. He was going to go Joe Biden. He was trying to get under his skin. He was just came prepared to be totally disruptive, and it's what he did. And, Joe Biden wasn't totally without, he called the president a clown, a fool, and a liar. Now, he was probably right on all of those things. He told him to shut up. He probably needed to, but it's not presidential. It's not civil, and civility lost last night, too.
Yeah, I like Chris Wallace. He did his best to try and get them to stop interrupting and answering the questions, but it was a debate that maybe would have been better moderated by Jerry Springer. I think it was just
but
the
we
worst.
Don't want Jerry Springer. And I want to say this. I know Chris. And, social media was very active last night. I think I had 10 threads going and was reading everybody else in the midst of it. Chris Wallace did his best. When you have the president of the United States, who's the president of the United States, let's be honest, who has decided he doesn't care what the rules are. He's shown us that for 4 years. The rule of law means nothing to him, and he was going to do whatever he was going to do. Chris Wallace I think he did his best, and I think the moderator had no control. I think they've got to renegotiate the rules. Do you turn off mics? How do you handle it? Or maybe we need to think about, do we really need another 2 debates if it's just going to be what we saw last night?
Well, you don't want a debate between a candidate and a moderator. You want a debate between 2 candidates would be much better. I feel that we need more debates because I feel like we missed the issues. We were supposed to find out where the candidates stood on a lot of important issues and think about the time we're in with what's going on with the pandemic, with what's going on with race relations, with what's going on in law enforcement. And we need to hear a lot more, a lot less arguing and a lot more. But I did want to get into some of the issues a little bit. Were you able to pull anything out of that last night about that differentiated the 2 clearly?
Well, there were 2 things that really bothered me. I could go into it more. We could talk about COVID and a lot of those things, but Donald Trump declined to condemn white supremacy. And not only did he decline to condemn it, he also egged them on. He talked about the to the Proud Boys and told them to stand back and stand by. And I don't know if you were looking at social media. I didn't sleep last night. I was up most of the night. But if you were reading social media, the groups went wild. They see it as his making them legitimate and a call to arms. That scares me. Kevin, that just outright scares me. What's his country?
I didn't see it exactly like you did. I'm very disappointed that he didn't say, I denounce white supremacist groups. I denounce the whatever boys they're called, Proud Boys. I denounce them. But let me tell you about my problems with Antifa. He did not do that.
No, he didn't. But I have problems with Antifa. I have problems with far right and far left groups.
But I think I did hear him try and say, which groups are you talking about? I'll denounce anyone you want. But the real problem is this. I thought he was like trying to debate who was worse instead of saying, look, all these groups are horrendous and horrible and have no place in our country. And he did not do that. And I did see social media. And I'm not going to, I think the Proud Boys would react no matter what was said. They would just be glad that their name was mentioned because I've done plenty of investigations into these hate groups, and
that's the truth. And
they're horribly uneducated people. But anyway, it was a big miss for him, for Donald Trump. He did not do what he should have done there. What other area really?
Well, the other thing that was at the end of the debate. I've been very worried for the last week that he has not committed to a smooth transition of government. And when both candidates were asked last night, would they condemn civil unrest as the country waits for the results? And will you pledge that you're not going to say you've won or you'll won't accept victory until the election's been officially verified? Donald Trump and said no. Joe Biden answered both of those questions as yes. And if you're listening to the president, one, he's stoking fear. He's trying to undermine American people's confidence in the election process. And he keeps saying that the Americans might not know for months what the results are. So that bothers me too. And then there's Michigan specific stuff too. I want to tell you, I am from Michigan and I don't feel like I'm in a prison. I lost family. I lost friends. And I think he cannot help himself. at taking his regular shot, as he does at our governor and at Michigan, but his manufacturing facts weren't right either. And, that bothers me a lot too. He said that he had created jobs, and the fact of the matter is we've lost 57,000 manufacturing jobs.
And you're saying before, whether with COVID or without COVID, you're saying?
Yeah, before COVID, we lost 57,000 jobs. And he said he was a big supporter of electric vehicles. I was part of begging him to support electric vehicle tax credits last December. Nancy Pelosi called me from Europe, and I called Mary Barra and called Bill Ford, and everybody tried to lobby him. So, I am going to call him on that one. He is not a supporter of electric vehicles.
Yeah, I'm pretty level-headed, and I got to tell you, I was a little fearful of the answers on the integrity of the election because Michigan was less 10,000 votes, less than 11,000 vote difference. And I'm not one that thinks that fraud is massive, but I do believe fraud happens. I know fraud happens in elections. I don't think it's massive though. I think it's more minuscule. But the way I heard the president talking last night, it makes me question how hard would it be to make 15,000 votes in a state with 10 million people disappear, and what is going to be done to make sure that all the signatures are correct and that all the absentee ballots are legitimate. And when I think about how that's going to get done, I don't see how that's going to happen quickly either. If it's a really close election and every vote has to be authenticated.
You know what, Kevin? We all got to believe in our democracy. We all got to get together. We need to come out, and we need to remember, united we stand, divided we fall. We need poll workers. President's right about that. We need poll workers to make sure the process goes well. We need people to be there, and we need people to believe in America and believe in the best of us, not the worst of us. I saw the worst of us last night. I choose this morning to believe in the best of us.
United we stand. Thank you, Debbie Tingle. We needed that. We appreciate you being on the Paul W. Smith Show today.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Yeah, you too. You too. We are going to take a short break. When we come back, we are going to go back to your phone calls. 1-800-859-0957, 1-800-859-0WJR. We blocked out the rest of the show to hear from you. So pick up the phone and give us a call. We want to hear what your thoughts were on President Trump, on President Biden, on the various guests we've had from both sides who have weighed in this morning. So give us a call. And right now, let's check in with traffic and weather and Dana Clark.
This report is sponsored by SafeExcavator.com. Call or click 811 before you dig. There's a lot of stuff underground you can't see, and every few minutes somebody digs into a line, pipe, cable, or wire. Don't be that person. Call or click 811 before you dig and visit SafeExcavator.com.
Traffic First sponsored by Gordon Chevrolet. Gordon Chevrolet, where you not only pick your payment, but now pick your program. Need to pull ahead your lease? Do you need GM employee pricing or a low payment with zero interest? Let Gordon Chevrolet help you find it on Ford Road, just west of Merriman in Garden City. GordonChevrolet.com. Gordon Chevrolet, find new roads. 94 eastbound at Ecorse Road. Accident blocks the right lane. Stop and go from at least Merriman. Now, WJR Weather First from the Weather Channel, sponsored by Michael Perna and the Perna Team Realtors. Worried if this is the right time to sell your home? It's time to call Michael Perna. Michael Perna with Keller Williams Realty guarantees to sell your home at a price and deadline that you agree to, or he'll buy it himself. Call Michael Perna, 844-737-6276, or visit thepernateam.com and start packing. All day, seeing rain expected. Could see some thunder this afternoon, a high of 63. Tonight, partly cloudy skies, low 46. Currently, 51 degrees. I'm Dana Clark, WJR News, with Marie Osborne in 1 minute.
The big media are afraid of David Horowitz's new book, Blitz, but Donald Trump Jr. says bypass them and get Blitz, now a runaway New York Times bestseller. Mike Huckabee, Mark Levin, and Rudy Giuliani all say you should get it. Blitz says Trump has a big surprise coming soon. Get Blitz at bookstores or check out the free offer for Blitz and save $28. Just call 800-NEWSMAX, 800-NEWSMAX, or go to blitz411.com, blitz411.com. Get Blitz today.
Attention SSI and other federal benefit recipients. If you did not file a tax return last year and have children under 17, you must act now to get the $500 economic impact payment per child this year. You must provide the IRS your child's information by September 30th. Go to irs.gov and use the non-filer tool by September 30th. That's irs.gov. This message produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
WJR Detroit and WDVD HD2 Detroit, the great voice of the Great Lakes. 760 WJR, where Detroit comes to talk.
At the first 2020 presidential debate, both President Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden discussed how they dealt with race relations in the United States.
President Trump, when the debate turned to the issue of race, touted his record on race relations and took this verbal shot at former Vice President Joe Biden.
You have treated the African American population community, you have treated the black community about as bad as anybody in this country.
Biden had his own take on the president's record with minorities, calling his language divisive.
This is a president who has used everything as a dog whistle to try to generate racist hatred, racist division.
National polls and polls in key battleground states show Biden leading the president among black voters by large margins. In Washington, John Decker, Fox News.
One voter in Pennsylvania says neither candidate stood out to him.
I don't think I can say that either or one. I think that it was a twister. It was a wild ride. It went right. It went left. There was a lot going on. There was a lot of interruption.
A lot of interruption, very loud. Michigan Congressman Tim Walberg says he expected better from the candidates in the debate.
It was, I think, if you're honest and not just totally partisan, you have to say there was a great disappointment in this debate. It really devolved into a brawl of proportions that I don't think serve us any well. I think most of the people went away on both sides feeling disappointed.
Congressman Walberg speaking to Kevin Dietz today about
Doing okay, Kev?
Yeah, doing good. Doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm watching all these comments. There's plenty of.
Yeah, we got a couple of callers. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're good there. The comments, I'm sorry, I've been, our Facebook friends all week, I've kind of been neglecting them. But
some of them think that you're a Biden fan. Have you seen that?
That's so funny.
That's the problem. You can't just try to be fair unless you go totally one way or the other. You immediately get labeled.
I know. They also, if Debbie Dingle's on, if you've met Debbie Dingle, it's hard not to like her as a person. No, you can dislike her stance on issues if you want, but she's a very likable person.
They don't like her though.
They don't like you you got to be mean to Democrats, and you got to be actually, and vice versa. It's the other way too. My email just gets loaded up with people who think I'm a Republican and others who think I'm a Democrat. It's crazy.
Right.
But that's okay.
That's okay.
That's okay.
The idea is,
and I guess if somebody ever leaked all my voting records, they would find out I voted for Republicans and Democrats in my life. What? Vote for the person?
I know. Imagine that. That's a dying breed type situation. I've done the exact same thing.
Well, in our line of work, you actually get to know them too. So
right.
You get to know some people, and you know that they would be good. It's pretty wild, but that's all right. It's all good. It's all good. My friends who know me really, really well, who've known me for 40 years, they listen and they're like, "Wow, I cannot tell where you're at on politics," but it's really it's pretty simple. I'm pretty open about it. I'm a very deeply compassionate conservative. I care very deeply about people who need help and can't help themselves, and I have conservative leanings towards smaller government and business. So it is what it is. It's not a big secret, but people don't really want to hear that. they want to just say, no, it's all one way or all the other way, but you can't be a great country and leave people behind. And if you start helping people who need help, it's expensive and maybe not as good for the economy. And so it's a pendulum that the country should always be on. It should always be, moving left to right, but in true north is where you want to be going, improving. Or obviously that's just my.
The other problem is we should stop labeling people. So if you say something that you support about something that the Democrats are doing or the Republicans are doing, you don't have to instantly label the person. You know what I mean? I think in this country nowadays, we're doing a ridiculous amount of labeling instead of just really looking at the issues, issue by issue. How do you feel about this issue? And if you feel about it in a particular way that's more liberal than right wing, it doesn't mean that you're a liberal.
All good.
I'll be backstage.
Voice of the Great Lakes. This is Paul W. Smith on WJR with Kevin Dietz filling in for Paul.
And he does take advantage of the tax cut. That's why I'm going to eliminate the Trump tax cuts. And I'm going to eliminate those tax cuts and make sure that we invest in the people who, in fact, need the help. People out there need help.
But why didn't you do it over the last 25 years?
Because you weren't president. Because you weren't president screwing things up.
You were a senator. And
You're the worst president America has ever had.
Hey,
Come
Joe,
on.
let me just tell you, Joe. I've done more in 47 months. I've done more than you've done in 47 years, Joe. We've done things that you never even thought of doing, including fixing the broken military that you gave me.
A lot of other taxes, but I'm asking you the specific question. Is it true that you paid $750 in federal income taxes each of those 2 years?
I paid millions of dollars in taxes, millions of dollars of income tax. And let me just tell you, there was a story in one of the papers. I paid $38 million 1 year. I paid $27 million.
Show us your tax returns.
I went, you'll see it as soon as it's finished. You'll see it. If you want to go to the Board of Elections. There's a 118-page or so report that says everything I have, every bank I have, I'm totally under leveraged because the assets are extremely good. And I built a great
I'm asking you a specific question, which is.
Let me tell you.
I understand all of that. I understand all of that. No, Mr. President, I'm asking you a question. Will you tell us how much you paid in federal income taxes in 2016 and 2017?
Millions of dollars.
You paid millions of dollars?
Millions of dollars.
So
yes.
not 750.
Millions of dollars. And you'll get to see it.
Vice President Biden, you have been much more reluctant than President Trump about reopening the economy and schools. Why, sir?
Because he doesn't have a plan. If I were running, I know what the plan is. You've got to provide these businesses the ability to have the money to be able to reopen with the PPE as well as with the sanitation they need. You have to provide them.
Nancy Pelosi.
Well, he's just shush for a minute.
Tell it to Nancy Pelosi and Schumer.
By the way, Nancy Pelosi and Schumer, they have a plan. He won't even meet with them. The Republicans won't meet with the Senate. And he sits on his golf course. And literally, think about it.
You probably play more than I do, Joe.
Debate 2020. It's being described a lot of different ways this morning, not many of them very good. A dumpster fire, ugly, an S show, two old guys yelling, "Get off my lawn," disappointing, dysfunctional, discouraging. That's what people are saying about last night's debate between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Good morning. It is Wednesday, September the 30th, 8:09 a.m. You're listening to the Paul W. Smith Show. Thanks for stopping by WJR 760 a.m., where Detroit comes to talk. We are also on Facebook Live, and we are on YouTube. And right now, we are going to take your calls for this hour, 1-800-859-0957. We want to hear what you thought of the debate. Give your voice some recognition now. 1-800-859-0WJR. Let's get right to the lines. Greg in Shelby Township, welcome to the Paul W. Smith Show.
Kev, your belly's on fire. You're rocking and rolling. Love it. Mr. Positive here. Hey, real quick, a couple things. It was a free-for-all, number one. Number two, I wish Trump would have said something more about white supremacy in his, disdain for it. Number three, I was surprised that Deborah Dingell had the comity to say what she said about it was all right for Biden to call Trump a clown and all that stuff. But more to my point, when Joe Biden looked into the camera and he implied that Trump was divisive and said that we as Americans have to come together. If you take Trump's economic plan up until the pandemic, he was inclusive. He did feel that everyone is involved in America to make America great and making us get together by lowering the unemployment, having more people work, and all those attendant things. So, it was wild last night. I knew that was happening. I'm sitting in my chair eating my popcorn, and I'm just slouching and I'm slumping down more and more and more because we're not getting to anything. And like I said on the Guy Gordon show yesterday, it was about character assassination and it was about past accolades, and that's all it was. There was no policy talking about policy and the implementation of it and going forward. And Kevin, you're doing a great job today, my friend.
All right, Greg, thanks for being on the show. To my eye, neither candidate looked presidential, but both said what they wanted to say, especially to their base. I think that if you were a Republican, you found in Donald Trump what you wanted on the issues. And if you were a Democrat, you found in Joe Biden what you wanted him to say on the issues. It was just, could they get there very easily through all the interruptions and all the insults? Let's check in with Tom and Fenton. Tom, welcome to the Paul W. Smith Show.
Good morning. Thanks for taking my call. My big concern right now is the virus. It's really disrupting my life in two major ways. I've got two grandchildren in Wisconsin. One is 3 and one is 1. In Wisconsin, the virus is really spiraling upward. So the thing that really makes me sad is Thanksgiving and Christmas time, we're not going to be able to visit them. It's not safe. And I want to see it brought under control. The only way we have to help control the virus now is masks. And President Trump hasn't sent a clear and consistent message on masks. And the other way it's affecting my life is I'm a school bus driver. I'm not working right now. I could work, but I'm 65. And when I drove a bus last year and the year before, if the kids had a cold, I'd pick it up. Whatever they had, you get. No matter how hard they try, they're kids. So I'm not working. I don't want to get the virus. And that's why I want to see Biden in there. I'm afraid nothing will change if we reelect Trump.
All right, Tom, thanks for calling into the show. We appreciate it. I felt like Donald Trump said we need to get this economy open as quickly and safely as we can because we have to bring the economy back. I heard Joe Biden say we have to be very thoughtful of people who have died and who are getting sick, and we have to be more cautious. At least that's the way I heard it. Jim and Flynn, how did you hear it? Hope we're going to... Okay, we're up against the clock, but we're going to stay with your calls, so stay on the line. The entire hour is going to be open to your calls, but first we got to check in here with Dana Clark in traffic.
This report is sponsored by T-Mobile for Business.
T-Mobile Business Advantage. Right now, get up to 90 days of unlimited free on business plans when you switch. Stop by for details. Plus taxes and fees. Complete port within 60 days. Customers over 50 gigabytes per month have lower speeds during congestion. Video at 480p unlimited on our network. See T-Mobile.com for details.
Earlier accident, Kevin is clear 94 eastbound at Ecorse Road. Still seeing those delays from at least Merriman. A new collision, 696 westbound at Gratiot. This is in Roseville. Accident right in that road construction area. The right shoulder is blocked. Now, WJR weather first from the Weather Channel, sponsored by Marathon. No matter where your travels take you, Marathon can improve your engine performance with quality top-tier gasoline. Marathon, fueling the American spirit.
Get ourselves into some clearing sky today. Now the front's through, clouds around as we head on through the early morning hours, but cloud-sun mix will become mostly cloudy later today with a high of 63. A few clouds tonight, 48. Outlying areas a little bit cooler. And we should see some showers and thunderstorms in here Wednesday with highs in the low 60s. From a Weather Channel meteorologist Ray Stajic on News Talk 760 WJR.
Neighbors, friends, family, and all the businesses that serve us, we are all in this together. And the men and women at Consumers Energy remind us to maintain our 6 feet of distance around their crews and each other. Let's all stay safe and stay healthy as Michigan works its way back. You can also stay informed anytime, anywhere with alerts about outages, payments, your bill, and more at consumersenergy.com/alerts. That's consumersenergy.com/alerts. You can count on Consumers Energy.
Hey, Sean Belegian here for Wigley's famous Eastern Market corned beef. Living in Metro Detroit my whole life, I've been a fan of Wigley's for years. From the old world flavor found in the time-honored family recipe to the consistent quality, Wigley's has been an Eastern Market staple since 1924. Now, it's the best time of the year to enjoy Wigley's corned beef. Whether gathering with friends to root on the green and white or maize and blue, tailgating at home for our Detroit Lions, or celebrating with loved ones during the upcoming holiday season. I invite you to head on down to beautiful Eastern Market and pick up some Wigley's today. Wigley's is cooked to perfection every time. Or if you're really daring and you're the master of your own pit, you can even smoke Wigley's corned beef at home like I do. For more information and market hours, call 888-WIGGLEYS or go to Wiggleys.com. That's Wiggleys.com.
The big media are afraid of David Horowitz's new book, Blitz, but Donald Trump Jr. says bypass them and get Blitz, now a runaway New York Times bestseller. Mike Huckabee, Mark Levin, and Rudy Giuliani all say you should get it. Blitz says Trump has a big surprise coming soon. Get Blitz at bookstores or check out the free offer for Blitz and save $28. Just call 800-NEWSMAX, 800-NEWSMAX, or go to blitz411.com, blitz411.com. Get Blitz today.
Attention SSI and other federal benefit recipients. If you did not file a tax return last year and have children under 17, you must act now to get the $500 economic impact payment per child this year. You must provide the IRS your child's information by September 30th. Go to irs.gov and use the non-filer tool by September 30th. That's irs.gov. This message produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
Hi, this is Mitch Albom, inviting companies large and small in Michigan to take the Popcorn Pledge. Order special holiday tins of brown bag popcorn, gourmet popcorn for your clients and employees for the holidays by going to brownbagpopcorn.com/pledge. You'll be helping support Say Detroit charities at a time when those less fortunate in our community really can use the help. It's popcorn with a purpose. Take the pledge today at brownbagpopcorn.com/pledge.
Now back to more Paul W. Smith on WJR. Once again substituting, here's Kevin Dietz.
You're listening to WJR 760 AM, where Detroit comes to talk, and it is your turn to talk. The number's 1-800-859-0957, 1-800-859-0WJR. We left off with Jim and Flint. Jim, welcome to the Paul W. Smith Show.
Thank you for taking my call. My thought was on the debate last night, the format was not set up to really accommodate debate. Chris Wallace would get on there and pontificate about what his question was going to be. Then he would offer his question. One of the candidates would have 2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes if he went over his 2-minute allotted time to say what was on his mind. Then the other candidate who answered the question second, he could say whatever he wanted to say, truth, fact, it didn't matter. Whatever he said, and supposedly that was to be the end of the conversation. That was not fair to whoever went first, who needed an opportunity to get back and rebut lies or misconceptions or falsehoods that were being said by the number two guy. You know, if you can't have controlled back and forth talking so that you can dig in deep into a topic, it's really pointless to ask the question. It seems like in the previous debates that we've seen, you know, they'd have maybe 5 minutes, each candidate might have 5 minutes to talk about a particular topic. And then one guy would have 2 or 3 minutes to talk about, you know, what the opponent would have said that was not quite right. And then that guy would be able to talk back and forth so they could dig a little bit deeper into the topic.
All right,
so
Jim, No, I'm with you. I appreciate it. I would have liked to have seen 4 minutes uninterrupted. Let each candidate talk for 4 minutes uninterrupted, and then give the opposing candidate maybe 90 seconds or 2 minutes to refute it or to comment, and then have their own 4 minutes. I think they needed more time. It was too much back and forth, too much arguing, and not enough time to really get into it. Thanks for calling. Let's check in with Will in Milford. Will, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. I certainly appreciate taking the call. Real quick, I'm a frontline worker, and the coronavirus isn't what everybody says that it is. And I think that's an example of exactly what Trump's been dealing with. Nobody's given him a fair shake. Imagine waking up every single day having people state that they're going to put you and your family in jail. The man's a fighter. He wakes up, he puts his head down, he does what's right for the American people. But what did everybody expect in the debate? There was no surprises there. I'm from the millennial generation, and I think Trump did exactly what he needed to do.
He came out. Thank you, Will. We appreciate it. He came out swinging. He was strong. He was confident. He acted the way he acts most of the time. He says what's on his mind, and he did that last night. Rod in Plymouth, welcome to the show.
Kevin, 2 callers ago, he's exactly right on, and you are too. You need rebuttal time and maybe even introduce the red light, yellow light again. But, oh, my goodness, Debbie Dingle adding to the mix of the poop show. It was probably a subliminal message that Trump sent by calling Biden a number 2 last night, which was kind of funny after he called him a clown. But, Mr. Dietz, if someone could show you or Paul's audience how to pay one half less in taxes, you'd consider that technique. And that's the president. He uses legal techniques too. But President Trump's wife, Melania, says it best. He's a fighter, and he's been fighting for all the American people within the country and throughout the world. And Biden is weak at best as a negotiator. We all want a fighter on our side, Kevin. And Trump, he's on the side of all Americans.
Yeah, well, I'm with you to a great extent of that. And I'll say I didn't think it was very fair of Chris Wallace to ask about Trump's taxes if he wasn't going to ask about Hunter Biden, because those two issues were kind of the October surprise, and neither of those issues were on the agenda. But Chris Wallace did ask about Donald Trump's taxes, but he did not ask Joe Biden about the investigation that came out regarding his son Hunter. So I wasn't too happy with that part of it. Rod in Plymouth, welcome to the show. Are you there, Rod? All right, let's check Joe and Romulus. Hello? All right, Dave, what do we got here? Is Will in Milford there? We already talked to Will. I cannot hear the show anymore. Guys, can you help me out here?
Hello, Kevin.
Hi, Ann. I can't hear the show anymore. I'm not sure what's happened.
I cannot hear the show anymore either. It says go to Chris in Flint.
Okay, Chris in Flint. Let's try that. Chris, you there?
I am here. I am here.
All right. What are your thoughts on the debate?
My thoughts on the debate are that it seems like everybody's missing the point of what happened last night. Everybody complains about how arrogant and condescending and mean, if you will, President Trump is. But I'd like to ask everybody exactly how you think Joe Biden came off last night. Whatever chemical cocktail they've given him to wake him up has made him, taken off a few of his filters maybe. He was condescending and arrogant and mean. So if we judge the candidates on their performances while they've been in office, President Trump's 3.5 years has completely blown Joe Biden's 47 years out of the water, in my opinion.
I thought that was a strong point for the president to make, that I've done more in the last 47 months than you've done in the last 47 years. And he hit it a couple of times and did pretty well with it. I did think that Joe Biden, a lot of people were watching him to see if he would be able to make it through the 90 minutes, which he was able to do. But he did. Donald Trump did get under his skin quite a few times. And to hear Joe Biden call the president a clown and to tell him to shut up and call him a liar and racist, it did surprise me a little bit. It's not like there was any candidate up there who you said, boy, I'm really proud of the performance that's going on here as far as the personalities of it all. But thanks for calling. We appreciate it. Linda from Commerce, welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thank you for taking my call. If there wasn't a winner in this debate, there was certainly a loser. And I say Chris Wallace. I said he didn't act. And I thought he was a terrible choice as a debate moderator. As an example, Wallace asked Trump not to interrupt his opponent. And when the president asked Wallace to make the same point, he just puffed up his chest and said that Trump was actually doing more interrupting. And I don't think he had control. He displayed bias in favor of Biden.
It was not terribly smooth, was it? And I think that it seemed like maybe Chris Wallace lost track of the clock a little bit. He would be so distracted, I guess, by interruptions that he would try and say, "Oh, wait, we're going to get to that point next." But I think he needed to give them more time, maybe, like I said, maybe 4 minutes to get into an issue. And if they went off topic, let them go off topic, but let the American people hear them. I don't think we got to hear that a lot. And then he seemed busy trying to figure out how to even up the clock that it didn't seem to work terribly well. I don't know what anyone could have done in that situation. I don't know what I would have done other than maybe you stand up immediately and say, we're not putting up with this. This isn't what we're going to do today. We're gonna follow the rules. I agree. It was not easy to watch, and maybe with a little more control, or if the candidates followed the rules better, it would have been a little smoother. We're going to take a quick break and then come back to your calls. 1-800-859-0957, 1-800-859-0WJR. Right now, let's check in with traffic and Dana Clark.
This report is sponsored by T-Mobile for Business. T-Mobile Business Advantage. Get up to 90 days of unlimited free on business plans via bill credits when you switch, plus taxes and fees. Stop by for details. Over 50 gigabytes per month. Have lower speeds during congestion. Video at 480p. See T-Mobile.com.
696 westbound at Gratiot and Roseville. Accident among those construction barrels. The right shoulder is blocked. Slow ride 75 northbound between Crooks and Adams. Now, WJR weather first from the Weather Channel, sponsored by Michael Perna and the Perna team.
Okay.
All right. We got a little lost in the shuffle there.
I asking them what happened, and they said they lost a couple calls, and then you were talking to Rod, but then went back,
I would have rather you just thrown Linda on and she said, "Oh, I'm Linda. I'm not, I'm not Rod or whatever." Because I thought I lost we lost completely.
I thought we lost the connection.
Yeah. And so I was,
So I told them though, next time, if they feel like they're losing calls, people are just hanging up,
right,
to go to a break. Just say, hey, take a quick break.
Or I can just go next caller and not introduce them. I can do that too, I guess, without using a name, and then whoever's there, put them on. But
so they say none of the calls you called for were there.
Yeah, so they had hung up already, so he didn't want to go to the wrong person, which I get. But
it'd be better
normally if I could hear that in my ear and they said, "Hey, go to whoever was next." But by the time I scrolled down, it was so far down to scroll down to see where it was. So
I like this idea. They're going to feed calls one at a time to avoid confusion. I think that's better.
Yeah.
Because this happens when we do try to do it with Paul. I do it texting. So I'll send the call, I'll say 3 calls. Well, then all of a sudden somebody hangs up.
Yeah. Typically it's okay because like when we do this in the afternoon, people will hang up, and honestly, it's me. I need to scroll to the bottom because then I can see what Dave's last message was. But I'm looking at the calls. We had so many calls. We had like 5 or 6 calls, so I was trying them one after the other. But apparently they were all gone. But Dave, if I just call for Bob and it's Linda, go ahead, throw Linda on, and I'll say
Linda can say, "I'm not Bob. I'm Linda."
because I can't hear anything. I don't have anyone in my ear. I don't know if I lost the the show or an internet connection or.
I actually thought the connection was gone.
Yeah, it was so quiet. I'm like, I don't know.
All right, so now we have Kevin. So Kevin, another Kevin. Kevin from Wixom is standing by.
All right.
That's perfect. Okay, cool. It's interesting it's kind of what we thought.
It's great. I'd like because it's 90 minutes. People here. Some people were looking for one thing or two things, and they heard it. They heard it through all the noise. They heard it, and so when they pull that out and they call and say, "Hey, I heard the president say this. That's great." Or I heard Joe Biden say this. I like to see what they heard or what they were looking for.
Mm-hmm.
So it is kind of nice. I don't know whether people are really down on Debbie Dingell. It's funny. I mean, we had Congress Republican congressman and a Democratic congresswoman. I guess it depends on what time you're listening to the show, maybe. But
Debbie always gets it.
She gets blasted.
She gets blasted whenever we have her on. She gets absolutely blasted. She handily wins her election every time, but our listeners, for some reason, have a very hard time with her. They're not fans.
Yeah, I mean, I don't talk to her all the time, but when I do, she seems pretty good about answering the question. I mean, she has her position, but she doesn't really hide from much. She answers the questions. I like that about Chief Craig. When we talk to him, he answers the questions. Sometimes people just won't even, they'll just say, no, my guy's perfect. She wasn't saying that at all, I don't think.
Neither one was.
No.
I didn't think that Congressman Wahlberg was doing that today either. I think they both were saying, yeah, you're right. There were some really significant issues with last night's debate.
Yeah.
I think they made it clear that they still support their candidates.
Oh, sure. And Wahlberg was interesting because he said, "Boy, I wish the president had said this, this, and this, and this instead of getting caught up in arguing or whatever." And Congresswoman Dingell said, "Boy, I wish Biden had done this or could have done better on this, but I was glad he said this." So it's it's where we live now. I mean, we are a very divided and dug in country. And maybe you don't have debates because people don't want debates. Maybe you just have each person gets 20 minutes to just talk nonstop.
Yeah,
and the other person talk. Like an opening statement that goes on for 15 minutes.
But it was almost like you'd have to turn. One of our sales, our senior account executives sent me a note and said, "Just curious. Has anyone suggested turning the person's microphone off for 2 minutes while the other person talks?" We have talked about having a mute button or turning the microphone off. They might have to do that. They might have to take more control like that.
Yeah, that's I was joking. Put them in a chamber, put each of them in a chamber, and it's soundproof, and they can't hear or talk when it's not their time. Only the person who the moderator is talking to can they can have a conversation, and then you take them out and put the other one in.
Because you gotta hear more what they have to say. So that is very interesting question. Very good.
Yeah,
good idea.
You do like to hear them interact if they are doing it politely and properly. You like to give and take, but that's not what we were really getting.
Mm-mm. No, we did not. So Patrick wants to know if Brian hit the dump button or is the FCC coming for Kevin? There was no swear. I didn't hear any swear.
Debbie Dingell said the S word. I don't know what the rules on the S word are.
Oh, I didn't hear that. That's interesting.
Yeah, the S show. She
flat out said it.
She did. Yeah.
Oh dear. I'll have to ask Brian what he ended up doing with that.
See, I should have watched my phone. My friends were texting me that I was still on the air and they could hear me just fine. I have so many things going on. I have the computer, the notes, and the stuff, and I feel like back at the studio with everything all over
Oh, yeah.
all spread out.
Yeah, Maria and Patrick both say, "Oh, brother." I don't know. I don't know if that's something. I know on cable it's perfectly fine.
On the internet, it's perfectly fine.
Perfectly fine on
I
the
don't know
internet.
there's 7 words or something you can't say. I don't know if that's one of them or not. I don't know. I guess I'll have to Google it later.
It was Dana
Or maybe
Bannister.
Brian may have hit the dump button too. I don't know.
Biden for president.
I'm asking him right now. Stay tuned.
Now back to more Paul W. Smith on WJR. Once again substituting, here's Kevin Dietz.
It's Wednesday, September 30th, 8:36 in the morning. Thanks for stopping by WJR 760 AM, where Detroit comes to talk. The phone lines are open. The number is 1-800-859-0957, 1-800-859-0WJR. Let's go back to the phone lines and talk to Kevin in Wixom. Kevin, thanks for being on the Paul W. Smith Show.
Yeah, Kevin, thanks for taking my call. Listen, watching the debate last night, I've been a longtime Trump supporter, and I honestly believe that what I saw last night in Vice President Biden was disrespect for the President of the United States, calling him different names. If you'll remember, I don't recall that the president referred to him as a clown or anything other than just Joe Biden. But the difference between the two is Biden is a 47-year politician. He is polished. He's polished. I know a little bit about politics. I was involved in it 16 years myself. He's polished. So he comes across soft. He comes across like your friend. He does very well because he's the kind of guy that'll look you in the eye and not tell you the truth. And proof of it is with his son, Hunter. His son, Hunter, and Carrie's son are involved in a real estate gig over in Russia and Ukraine, and he won't answer the question to it. And that's deceiving to the public because it's extortion in our world, and you're in my world and the rest of us, but they continue to get away with it. It's the elite of the politicians that continue to get away with this, and he won't answer that question. But I will say that I think even being a Trump supporter, Biden did a little bit better last night because he practiced. And I think next time, the next debate you see, Trump will probably take a little bit more time and get a little more polished. It was that way last time too.
Yeah, I thought, Joe Biden was looking down at his notes a little bit more than I thought he would too. For someone who's done as many debates as he had, I thought he did fine, but I thought he might do a little better. And I thought he did get flustered when he started calling the president names. It was because he was upset about something Donald Trump had said to me, had gotten under his skin. And it was interesting to see. I know I talked to a lot of people who feel the way you did. Thanks for calling, Kevin. We appreciate it. Let's check in with Randall in Heartland. Randall, welcome to the show.
Yeah, good morning. Thanks for taking my call. Yeah, I did watch the debates. I was sitting there watching with my wife and kids, and it was hilarious. It was just entertaining to watch. Obviously, there wasn't a lot of polish on the president's part, but we know him. That's who he is. And I don't know of anyone, and I can't imagine anyone actually watching one of these debates to try to make a decision on who to vote for. And we're really just sort of watching to see exactly what happens to Biden more than anything. And one thing Biden did say, he said, hey, I am the Democratic Party or the Democrat Party. So, what I say is going to go. Well, yeah, he can say that, but everyone knows that he is going to do whatever this large group of radical left-wing people want him to do if he was elected. So when he says, I am the Democrat Party, so what I say is going to go, everybody knows that's not true. He can't be trusted not to take this country further down the road, just like everyone thinks that he's going to. So in spite of what he says. So not anything to change anyone's mind. Yeah, Chris Wallace did sort of a lousy job. But again, it was just entertaining, I thought, seeing both of their reactions. And again, I think everyone's decision is already made.
Well, if you watch any of President Trump's press conferences, the reporters just go at him nonstop, and I think that President Trump is used to having to defend himself vigorously against an aggressive press, and so I think that's
right.
what he was.
A couple calls ago, the guy said it exactly. Hey, the guy's a fighter. You know that he's been fighting the whole entire time before he even took office. He's been embattled. He's been attacked. He's been lied about. So what do you expect him to act like? He's not going to be the perfect gentleman. It's like people would say about Israel. Well, why isn't Israel nicer? Why doesn't Israel give these people more chance to ask for peace? Well, they've been trying to kill Israel the whole entire time they've been a nation. So how can you act like the gentleman when you're constantly being attacked? And that's exactly the thing with our president. I don't know what to expect out of him.
I appreciate it, Randall. Thanks for the call. Let's check it with Bill in Detroit.
Yeah, Kevin. You know what? Your callers are all right. People have some sympathy for Trump. He's been through hell. And why didn't, what I want to know is, when is Trump going to bring up the Russia collusion thing? I mean, that is what I call corruption. I mean, talk about beating up Trump for something. The Democrat Party is the most corrupt I've ever seen in my entire life. And that should be brought up. That should be talked about, including Hunter Biden. But yeah, you know what? In the end, we're voting for Trump. I don't care what the media says. The people are fed up with these phony, these felt, dressed up guys in suits that just say whatever you want them to say. I mean, it's comical. It's comical. We're way smarter than that, Kevin. A lot of us can see through politicians. Trump's not a politician. He may be in a position of politics, but he doesn't act like a politician. Thank God, because all we need is another 4 years of corruption, and it's really, really taken over the country, and it's divisive because of the Democratic Party, not the Trumps of the world, not us. I'm sorry, not our fault. They destroyed this country. They did it purposefully.
All right, Bill, we're going to have to leave it there. I have a feeling that if people were able to pick the topics of the debates, they would be a lot different than the topics that were proposed last night. There are a lot of things that the people want to hear from both Donald Trump and Joe Biden, and it's not always the topics that are on the schedule. So it gets a little uncomfortable when the moderator is trying to maybe talk about the climate and the candidates are trying to get a point out about Russian collusion or some other issue. So very, very difficult to watch. We'll see what happens the next time around. You're listening to the Paul W. Smith Show. We'll be back with much more. But right now we got to check in with traffic and Dana Clark.
This report is sponsored by Indeed.com. If finding a high-impact hire is a serious goal for your business, use Indeed. Their flexible payment options mean better bang for your buck with no long-term contracts. Indeed will even give you a $75 credit for your first sponsored job post at Indeed.com/high-impact. Terms and conditions apply.
Earlier accident, 696 westbound at Gratiot. That collision is clear. Otherwise, just a slow ride. Because of construction along 696 westbound between Gratiot and Groesbeck, delayed from at least 94. Your left two lanes are closed until 5 p.m. Now, WJR weather first from the Weather Channel.
Yeah, it's seasonably cool weather will continue. Mix of clouds and sunshine this morning. Might see a little more cloud this afternoon, but still some sun, high 63. Tonight, some clouds in town, about 48. Suburbs a little cooler. And we may see a few more showers and thunderstorms tomorrow with highs in the low 60s. From a Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray Stajic, News Talk 760 WJR.
Does pain have you in the penalty box, sitting on the sidelines, not getting a chance to experience being in the game? You need to know what I did and get to Pain-Free Life Centers. I'm Darren McCarty, 4-time Stanley Cup champion, and I know a thing or two about pain, dishing it out and taking it. For years, I've been looking for a safe and effective way to manage my pain. I found it at Pain-Free Life Centers. They treat your pain using state-of-the-art, high-intensity, high-dose laser therapy. It sounds like science fiction, but it's legit, guys. It totally works. Pain-Free Life Centers can help you with your pain without resorting to unnecessary surgeries, painful injections, and addicting drugs. It's been cleared by the FDA, and it's totally safe, so that means it's legit. Literally, no side effects. You owe it to yourself to give Pain Free Life Centers a call. Your consultation and first treatment are totally free. You have nothing to lose but your pain. Call 248-879-1100 or go to painfreelifecenters.com.
I'm Joe Gannon. Do you know the best washer and dryer made today? What comes from China or Korea? And what was manufactured in the good old USA? You're going to find out when I return this weekend.
Giving tips and advice on home appliances and helping consumers for 36 years. Joe Gannon is the appliance doctor on the Home and Appliance Show. Weekend morning 6 to 8 on News Talk 760 WJR. Oxford Recovery Center has helped so many people with neurological and autoimmune diseases, like Jennifer, who has multiple sclerosis and Lyme disease. After years of traditional medicine, Jennifer turned to hyperbaric oxygen therapy at Oxford Recovery Center.
I just knew in my gut that I didn't want to go the route of the traditional MS drugs for the rest of my life. My intuition was just telling me to seek out alternative treatments.
Oxford helps their patients to heal, allowing more quality time to spend with family and loved ones.
So I have a teenage daughter who loves to shop. Before treatment, I took her to an outlet mall and I had to stay in the car while she ran into the different shops. And since I've started treatment, we tried it again and I was able to actually go into the stores with her and we could spend a nice mother-daughter day together, which was wonderful.
Let Oxford Recovery Center help give you or someone you know their quality of life back. Call to make an appointment today at their new Brighton facility or in Troy at 248-486-3636. That's 248-486-3636 or visit oxfordrecoverycenter.com.
Timeshare owners, what I'm about to share may save you thousands of dollars. I'm Gordon Newton, president of the Newton Group and author of The Consumer's Guide to Timeshare Exit. In the last 15 years, I've heard everything imaginable from exit companies trying to get you to hire them. I've heard them advertise a money-back guarantee. The truth is those guarantees fall flat time and time again as bad exit companies file for bankruptcy and take your money with them. I've heard them try to earn your trust, claiming they pioneered timeshare cancellation in 2008. The ugly truth is that's not possible. Newton Group has been leading the exit industry long before that. I've even heard exit companies pay celebrity endorsers to convince you they're experts. The truth is the experts at Newton Group wrote The Consumer's Guide to Timeshare Exit. Every year, timeshare owners lose millions of dollars by hiring the wrong exit company. If you want out of your timeshare, call Newton Group at 800-800-1764 for your free no-obligation consultation and free copy of the guide. That's 800-800-1764 or newtongroup.com.
Now back to more Paul W. Smith on WJR. Once again substituting, here's Kevin Dietz.
All right, we've been talking about the debates all morning long, and we've been enjoying your calls as well. And right now, I think we're going to bring Frank Beckman into the show. Frank, are you with us? Do we have Frank Beckman? I'm having some technical difficulties here. Anyway, we talked a lot about the presidential debate today and how Joe Biden did and how President Donald Trump did, and really a lot of arguing between the two. Very difficult.
Does pain have you in the penalty box, sitting on the sidelines, not getting a chance to experience being in the game? You need to know what I did and get to Pain Free Life Centers. I'm Darren McCarty, 4-time Stanley Cup champion, and I know a thing or two about pain, dishing it out and taking it. For years, I've been looking for a safe and effective way to manage my pain. I found it at Pain Free Life Centers. They treat your pain using state-of-the-art, high-intensity, high-dose laser therapy. It sounds like science fiction, but it's legit, guys. It totally works. Pain Free Life Centers can help you with your pain without resorting to unnecessary surgeries, painful injections, and addicting drugs. It's been cleared by the FDA, and it's totally safe, so that means it's legit. Really, no side effects. You owe it to yourself to give Pain Free Life Centers a call. Your consultation and first treatment are totally free. You have nothing to lose but your pain. Call 248-879-1100 or go to painfreelifecenters.com.
I'm Joe Gannon. Do you know the best washer and dryer made today? What comes from China or Korea? And what was manufactured in the good old USA? You're going to find out when I return this weekend.
Giving tips and advice on home appliances and helping consumers for 36 years. Joe Gannon is the appliance doctor on the Home and Appliance Show. Weekend morning, 6 to 8 on News Talk 760 WJR. Oxford Recovery Center has helped so many people with neurological and autoimmune diseases, like Jennifer, who has multiple sclerosis and Lyme disease. After years of traditional medicine, Jennifer turned to hyperbaric oxygen therapy at Oxford Recovery Center.
I just knew in my gut that I didn't want to go the route of the traditional MS drugs for the rest of my life. My intuition was just telling me to seek out alternative treatments.
Oxford helps their patients to heal, allowing more quality time to spend with family and loved ones.
So I have a teenage daughter who loves to shop. Before treatment, I took her to an outlet mall and I had to stay in the car while she ran into the different shops. And since I've started treatment, we tried it again and I was able to actually go into the stores with her and we could spend a nice mother-daughter day together, which was wonderful.
Let Oxford Recovery Center help give you or someone you know their quality of life back. Call to make an appointment today at their new Brighton facility or in Troy at 248-486-3636. That's 248-486-3636 or visit oxfordrecoverycenter.com.
Now back to more Paul W. Smith on WJR. Once again, substituting, here's Kevin Dietz.
All right, we've been talking about the debates, and we're going to bring Ann Thomas back onto the show. Ann, how are you?
I'm doing great, Kevin. I've been very interested in what our listeners had to say this morning. Fascinating conversation, really good, thoughtful comments.
Yeah, I thought, the way the debate went and everybody was, the candidates were kind of fighting at each other and picking at each other and interrupting each other. It was great to have so many callers this morning call and share their thoughts and opinions on it. But they did it respectfully. They really talked about what they would have liked to have seen, what they would have liked to have heard. They talked about what they did hear, and they told us why they support their candidate. But it was really a good conversation. We don't always have a lot of callers on this show, but the last hour we dedicated to callers. I think it really was interesting and insightful.
The other interesting thing is how many of the callers feel and how much they admire, I should say, the President Trump's ability to fight and fight hard for what he believes in. And they seem to be very attracted to that.
Yeah, and that was the first commentary coming out of that from Trump's camp, is that, that this night showed you who's going to be fighting for you. And Donald Trump may have seemed combative to some people, but if you watch him on a regular basis, you'll see in his press conferences that he's under attack a lot. So his demeanor is defensive, and he has to talk over reporters all the time in press conferences, and they'll just keep shouting at him. So he may be used to talking to people that way.
So you can't change who you are. You're going to be who you are. But I think people who like Donald Trump and the way he fights felt that that's what he was doing there.
The other thing that you mentioned earlier in the show that I noticed when we took the calls was that the callers definitely looked for the different issues that the president and the former vice president are concerned about. And then they picked those particular issues that match how they feel, and they were happy with how the candidate answered that.
Yeah, and when you we played back a lot of the clips this morning, and when you play back just clips, you just hear a lot of shouting and a lot of name calling. But I did feel like we found out a little bit more about the candidates. And one of the interesting issues was on the climate, which isn't one of the issues I watched terribly closely. But it was interesting because Joe Biden said, "I'm not part of that radical Green Deal." He said, "I have my own plan."
And I think, Kevin,
in the business, but I'm about the economy as well. And it was interesting. And Donald Trump sort of said, "Oh, you're going to lose the left there, Joe." And it was interesting to see, what will happen. What will the polls look like the next time they're taken since the debate? What will people have processed and thought about? And did anybody change their mind?
My prediction is there won't be much change because I don't think they did a lot there to bring in an independent who hasn't decided yet. The undecideds, I think, are probably still undecided this morning.
They were saying that it's the smallest undecided group ever, like 3%, maybe 5%, that most everyone has made their decision already. So if that's the case, then the candidates did a good job of getting their base fired up and saying, you better vote for me because this is where I'm at, and you better vote for me because this is where I'm at. If it didn't seem like either candidate was really trying to woo over independents or undecideds, but you might be right. If you were undecided, maybe you just watched last night and thought, maybe I'll just stay home. Let's hope that's not the case.
Hopefully not.
Let's hope that's not the case, and let's hope that we all learn a little bit from this debate and find a way to make the next debate even better. And that's what we'll strive for. But a lot of great interviews today, and a lot of great callers. We appreciate everybody who was on Facebook Live with us today, and everybody who called into the show, and of course all your help today too. So we will take a short break. Frank Beckman will be here after the break, and right now we're going to check in with Dana Clark with traffic and weather.
This report is sponsored by T-Mobile for Business.
T-Mobile Business Advantage. Right now, get up to 90 days of unlimited free on business.
And Kevin,
yes.
Don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
They have not been able to connect yet with Frank. So it could be, there might be, I don't know, is there some type of an outage going on?
I don't know. He should be able to call him because I dropped off entirely just out of the blue, and it took a while to reboot back in. So I called. I called, but then when you call in, you can't tell what's going on because you have no communication.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if there's some type of what type of service do you have?
I have Xfinity.
Xfinity. Okay. I don't know. Frank is not that far from you.